Okay, how about now? There we go. I don't like hearing my own voice like that. All right, now we can fix that. That. Okay. Now that I've got that fixed. What's up? How's everybody's day? Ugh. Okay. Um, a tad bit chilly. Yes, in theory. But first, I want to prep something for my planner and then crochet. Just a calendar. But I gotta find a pencil first. Wherever one may be. You shall do.
with a new person.
Ooh, that's loud.
And he looks up to his dad. He's his role model. He says, if I'm in a relationship with you, 25% of your time, you're just going to be like, oh man, I hate being here. This guy cheated on me. He lied on me. But then there's 75% of the time, I'm going to make you the happiest woman in the whole wide world. I'm going to be there to support your dreams. I'm going to be there to hold you, listen to you. I'm going to be there to be your best friend. And I promise you'll smile the most. You know who I am. This is what it is. Which deal do you choose? Which is just the craziest thing ever. But Diddy claims he really loves his children. So for his children, he has started a new company called Combs Cartel. It's very questionable. It's an umbrella company for the joint ventures of his children. His first son, Quincy, who he adopted, that he has with Kim Porter, he is acting. He recently starred in the Netflix special Holiday Calendar. Justin is Diddy's first biological child with Misa Hilton. He used to run a segment on Revolt TV, which is a media company that used to be owned by Diddy, called Respectfully Justin, where he interviews celebrities. But like he just, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. He doesn't really interview the celebrities. He has a co-host that does all the talking. He just kind of is there. And so people have called him out for being a nepo baby because you're not really doing anything on the show. You just got a show because your dad owns the network. Right. I digress. Then there's Christian Combs, the first child with Kim Porter. Christian is taking more after his dad, trying to get into music. Musically, he goes by the name King Combs. He has a song called Can't Stop, Won't Stop featuring Kodak Black. I think that was his biggest song. But I think the most talked about song is a song he recently released 5 months ago. It's called Pick a Side. This was released after the feds raided Diddy's home, but before he's arrested. The more relevant lyrics go like this. I dare one of you N-words.
Ooh, what'd you find?
Might see me with some pretty is with me, but ain't no O in me. Police raid the crib like we selling crack. We ain't doing that, but we out here selling tracks. Multi-million-dollar plaques. All that woofing on the internet, I guess. Well, now it's time to show N. Steady talking to the fam, and we don't even know. But go ahead, play one call away. We ain't sparing no. Knock them walls down like when them Fetty boys ran in both of our cribs. Too bad they ain't know we bought the one next door, cause that's the one they missed.
Wait, what did he just say about next door?
He's saying, first of all of you guys yapping on the internet, we're not sparing anyone. This is like a freaking war. Then he goes on to state, like the feds raided our crib acting like we're selling crack, but we're not. We're selling tracks, but also jokes on them because they missed one because they had purchased 2 homes in Miami, it seems, on Star Island, and I guess he's insinuating that the feds
no, I'm pretty sure she's married.
Really? He's flexing about that.
Oh, just you wait till the comments. Now, there seems to be references to 50 Cent and Eminem. We will get to that in part 4, where we go through all of Diddy's friends and then everyone who has hated him since day one. Because there's a lot of celebrities who have been beefing with him since day one. Now, the main comments on this diss track read, this shit is whack. Others point out he's grown up in such a privileged household, he can't even make a good diss track. They comment, wow, we're really making it out the gated community with this one, fam. Another comments, snitched on himself and hit us with this itsy bitsy spider flow. Yeah, he does like a nursery rhyme beginning.
They praying on our downfall another time again. After the rainfall, the sun gonna shine again. That's right. Don't bust no U-turns cause we ain't forgetting shit.
And then others say, when you make a poem in primary school and then add a backtrack. In the lyrics, like I said, he talks about the feds missing the second home in Miami they allegedly purchased. A lot of netizens found that hilarious, saying, how do you snitch on yourself in your own diss track? LOL, he said, don't forget the house next door.
The feds just raided 2 of their house. Yeah. And he's making a diss track on the public.
So she is... This is Rotten Mango.
what is going on?
Which a lot of people have said, you know, cops,
So she's talking about
the
the
feds,
P. Diddy
nobody
case.
really
I'm on video
like,
too.
it's just not something you do.
These are the perfect videos to have on in the background.
Being investigated for RICO conspiracy,
Yeah,
racketeering. Like,
This is not gonna age well.
the feds, they might overlook a lot of things, but they will not overlook things like racketeering.
Yeah.
People comment, how are you going to make a diss track where you're not really dissing anybody, only name dropping and then self-snitching? This sounds less like a diss track and more like a confession. Others are commenting, yeah, well, we did pick a side, and it's not with the oily diddler. A lot of people think it's just so big. It really just shows how untouchable they think they are. Because why would you tease the feds like that? Gene, the floating body.
I go between like witchcraft videos and then I go between
Bro, you might think it's petty, but it's not. You do not.
I've been watching these a lot.
And that's what that did. Others have commented. Christian Combs said pick a side. The feds said pick a cell. Yeah. So she's in a lot of
That's-
hot water.
She has stuff where she talks about like
He's actually just seen
stuff
arguing
that's
with his
actually happening,
So he's still out right now.
girlfriend. There's no criminal charges.
but she has
against him,
such a
just
backlog that like
him with
you
Grace.
could just keep it
Yeah,
playing
then
in the
we have
background.
Chance Combs, Sarah Chapman's daughter. I watched a lot of interviews with Chance Combs in there, and honestly, she seems really, really smart. Like, she just turned 18. She's very beautiful. Seems to have a good head on her shoulders. Then you have Delilah and Jesse, the twins. They were born 5 months after Chance. It seems like all the three of them are very close in age, but also just in bond. They're currently aspiring to be full-time models. They joined their father on the stage for the 2023 VMAs, where he sang "I'll Be Missing You," which is a song we will cover in part 3 because it is in reference to a murder that he is allegedly, the conspiracy is he was involved in. These girls are stunning. I mean, people have said they look just like their mother, Kim. They also seem really down to earth, and I'm sure it's
Sometimes I'll get into like I go through spurts of what I want to watch, and so sometimes I will just like let YouTube go
all of this while being so
and
young,
like
I'm sure is
be like,
very hard.
oh,
And then you have
okay.
youngest,
But I also have
22 years old now, I think. Love
I found a
her.
YouTube channel where it's a girl. She doesn't talk in her
Some sources describe her as a model. Other sources state she's a cybersecurity expert.
make a
Regarding
playlist
2023,
specifically just for
he
that.
actually just posted
So
an Instagram photo for her while he's in prison.
Post the Instagram photo.
like
of the-
make a playlist
Yes,
and
yes,
instead of saving them to your watch later,
How's he-
put them in that
how's he-
specific
I don't know.
playlist.
Maybe someone did it for him. Nobody really knew that Diddy was even expecting another child. In fact, most netizens thought that he was in a interesting relationship with Young Miami of City Girls, but he just like randomly posted on Twitter, "I'm so blessed to welcome my baby girl, Love Sean Combs, into the world. God is the greatest." So I will say, out of the 7 kids, aside from Christian and Justin, who have been named in lawsuits,
How old are they now, Sean?
I think Justin is 30, Christian is 25, 26.
Oh,
Quincy's even older.
Okay.
And then Chance just turned 18, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so particularly with the girls and the youngest kids, there's rightfully a lot of sympathy out there for them from the public, because likely they don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And if anything, I'm sure even a little bit of that controlling behavior from Diddy was in his parenting. It couldn't have been easy just growing up with the media, the press, and it's definitely not easy for them now with, unfortunately, the whole situation. And I don't know how good of a father Diddy was. They state that.
Could you imagine being one of his kids
Diddy once told her,
and
somebody gave me multiple
someone just
choices.
asking you why there was so much baby oil in the house?
Personal life or be in the music industry. I chose be in the music industry. He also told another Vibe reporter once, anything I've wanted, I can say I've gotten it.
Hello.
Diddy was born in Harlem. His father was allegedly an associate of a legendary.
You know what? For a while,
Frank Lucas.
I was just watching like old Vine comp videos because it's something that you're familiar with. Sometimes if I can't find something that I want to watch YouTube wise, I'll put on Criminal Minds in the background. Because it's usually just like background noise stuff, which is why I like Sims YouTubers, because it's usually them doing speed builds or challenges. So
roaches on your face, you would know it was around 15 roaches on your face. He says, my first job was a paper boy. I was a bus boy. They wouldn't even let me be a waiter. Do you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be a waiter so bad, but I just always had that hustle. Even being a paperboy, he said he's not going to do it like everybody else. He states that when you're a paperboy, you get your predetermined route. You make about $1 per paper you deliver, but because you only get a certain number of houses in your route, you're capped out. But Diddy thought, what if I'm not capped out? He reaches out to all the paperboys in the neighboring areas. I have a proposal.
Channel
You
Andrea
let me
just
deliver your
redeemed
papers for you. You
hydrate.
do nothing, and we split the profits. Sure, you could make $1 a paper and you're working all day, or you could make 50 cents
Oh,
a paper
hydrate.
and do nothing. He said even though his dad was
Man,
married,
that's on there for a long time.
even if we don't know our parents, we still have their
It's
DNA.
going away.
We have their genes. I have his hustler's mentality, his hustler spirit, his drive, his determination, his swag. He starts off and he later tells Forbes, I ain't fooling around. I'm building assets. He says, I had to go in.
Sometimes it's car crash videos, like dash cam footage.
At first I was shy. Then one day I realized that shy shit isn't gonna get me anywhere in this life right here. In this world, sometimes people say I'm cocky and arrogant, but that's what comes with it. He also talks about obstacles and how he loves challenges. He says, it's like this mountain is 3 times bigger in front of us. It's got a volcano coming down, rocks.
It's after July,
avalanches.
August.
Do you want to climb this mountain, or do you just want to go find shelter and ride this thing out and just die? And he loves money. Maybe he gets it from his dad, but he loves money, and he's skilled at making it. He was estimated to be worth close to $1 billion. His estimated earnings in 2023 alone are ballparked to be around $90 million, making him Forbes' number 14 highest paid entertainer, after Jay-Z, Kanye West, the creators of South Park, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Reese Witherspoon.
How? Like, where's the money coming from?
He had a tequila line that he got a big payout for as well. Yes.
I see.
Now, just to give you context on how much $90 million is, that's about $250,000 a day. He's also very skilled at enjoying his money. He owns that private jet that cost him $60 million, a real estate portfolio nearing $100 million. He owns...
Right. So he has a $60 million private jet,
Yes.
right? Last time you say the jet disappeared from the navigation system, right?
Happy belated birthday.
Like,
Oh, it was recently spotted in New Zealand. People saw a picture of it because it's matte black, and it,
oh, so what happened? He just removed it from the system?
Yes, and his lawyers are telling the judges that he's willing to sell his private jet to show the judge that he's not at flight risk. So please give him bail. The judge said no. He owns a massive painting that he bought at auction for $21 million. It's an original Kerry James Marshall. It's incredibly beautiful. He owns original Andy Warhol's, Keith Haring's. There was one time he was being interviewed talking about how excited he is about being a father, and Kim was pregnant with twins. Conan O'Brien was like, are you registered with Kids R Us? To which Diddy looks slightly offended and tells him he's registered at Mercedes, which is likely a joke, but still very extravagant nonetheless. He had a famous butler once who would walk around just holding a umbrella over his head. His name was Farnsworth Bentley. Yeah, he would just walk around with this umbrella. And recently, prior to his arrest, Diddy just announced that he purchased 2 of the largest cannabis companies in the country for nearly $200 million, making him the owner of the largest black-owned cannabis company in the U.S.
Wow.
I don't know what's going to happen to that now. But he would also say things like, I don't want to make the most money. I want to be known for giving the most money away.
I feel like I've heard that a few times. SBF.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which he's sharing, is that true? Sharing the sale with?
Yeah, sharing the same unit with Diddy. The crypto fraud of FTX crypto, yeah. He's in the same detention center in Brooklyn. And they actually share the same attorney, which we will cover in part 4. Maybe they're best buds. He said in a previous interview, I'm the one driving around in the Rolls Royce with this hat turned, going down 5th Avenue with the music booming in the back, walking into Gucci, shutting down the store, buying everything at the motherfucking same time, driving up to Harlem, and giving out $100 bills to homeless people. I'm not gonna lie to you, I had a taste of wealth, and I was gonna do anything I could to protect that. I just remember these days of roaches crawling on me, and it's just like, I need to focus on this money right now, because nobody else has the opportunity that I have. Which again, not a controversial statement, but a source close to Diddy,
The video done in the corner.
says that to Diddy, it's not even about money. It's about power.
But it's
It appears that Diddy
she's
wants
talking
to
about
basically
the
about him.
Diddy
There's a certain
case.
narcissism, an attitude of objectifying not just women, but all people, and wanting to be with other men who enjoy moving people around like chess pieces.
Who said this?
An insider source. But Diddy claims that the only thing that got him to be worth close to $1 billion, the credit goes to being a father. Fatherhood taught him patience and grace.
Wow.
And I'm sure he believes he is a great father, which is why his son, Christian Combs, is getting sued by Grace, the yacht stewardess who claims she was essayed by Christian Combs while working on the Victorious yacht December of 2022. Grace was 25 at the time, he was 24 at the time, and honestly, her lawyer had it out for Christian. They write it in the lawsuit. Defendant Christian Combs is a 25-year-old auto-tuned and heavily edited rapper. Unfortunately, as the saying has it, the apple does not fall far from the tree. Defendant C. Combs, Christian Combs, who has seemingly taken after his father and the family business of reckless partying, drugging others, sexual violence, and other illegal conduct. She alleges, paraphrasing here, but like the lot of the whole family were weird. The lawsuit alleges a constant rotation of suspected sex workers and A-list celebrities were rotating on the yacht. Staff were often treated with disrespect. It created an extremely hazardous environment. Also in the lawsuit, there's this really weird part where Grace alleges in the lawsuit that she was tending to the yacht, and I guess the family, they were all playing a game. I don't know who was present during this game, but it seems that Diddy and his mom, Janice, were present, Janice Combs. And I don't know if Diddy was dared, but somehow the conversation in the game leads to him taking off his pants so that his private parts are exposed, and he's sitting right next to his mom, and he does it. Which is definitely strange. Side note, a lot of people think his relationship with his mom is strange. A new clip has surfaced where Diddy is with his mom, and they're both hooked up on IVs, which Cassie has included in her lawsuit that after freak-offs, they would need to get IVs the next day from all the drug usage. I'm just saying that's a parallel. It's been alleged by Cassie that,
I get drunk.
Completely different things. Not everyone who gets IVs do freak-offs. So in the video, he introduces his mom and kisses her on the lips, which is inherently not sexual, I guess. It depends on each person's boundaries. It's just weird. He also apparently brags about his mom and taking his mom to strip clubs, so there's that. Gene, the former bodyguard, says the two of them have a fascinating relationship. He brings up an allegation that has been circulating recently that Diddy's mother owned a modeling agency when he was younger. So after his father was killed, they needed to make money. So she opens up a modeling agency. But the allegation is that perhaps during the day it's a modeling agency, perhaps at night it's sex work. Some further allegations allege that she was running a full-on brothel out of their home when Diddy was a kid. Gene, the former bodyguard, just brings up what he claims he saw and what he thought was strange about Diddy and his mom's relationship. One, he claims Diddy would describe his mother in odd, potentially sexual ways, bragging about how she can stand up and bend over and put her palms on the ground. But it was, I guess, in a sexual context. It was weird. What? Allegedly. Two, they would kiss on the lips, which is evidenced by the live stream. Three, he alleges his mom would wear the same white nail polish that Cassie alleged Diddy would like to see during freak-offs. Which, side note, if you listen to part 1 of this 4-part series, you know that another alleged girlfriend of Diddy's went on a podcast to allege that she was abused by him. She also had on white nail polish. Some people have pointed to the fact that Young Miami of City Girls, when she was dating Diddy, had white nail polish on. Gene continues to allege, what's crazy to me is that him and his mother had this, I don't want to get too deep, man, this Oedipus complex thing. Side note, the Oedipus complex is a theory that children will feel feelings of desire towards their opposite parents. For boys, there are unconscious sexual attractions towards the mother, which creates a hostility with the father, and vice versa, whom they just view same parents as their rival, is the theory. Gene continues, I'm looking at him and his mother on the couch. Both of them are getting IVs after one of Diddy's parties, allegedly, because I wasn't there. I wouldn't know. My whole thing about this thing is, I'm not saying she was ever at a freak-off or she was ever at that type of party, but you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who is always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak-off parties? That's what Gene says. Gene says he's not saying anything because he doesn't know, he didn't see anything, but he does seem to have a complicated relationship with his mom if Gene's stories are true. But he also says that he's very aggressive towards his mom. Sometimes he allegedly heard Diddy just snap at his mom. Didn't I tell you to stay out my motherfucking business? Going off on her, allegedly. But I digress. Grace alleges in her lawsuit that one night Christian Combs came via tender. So tender is a small boat that takes people from the boat to the land, from the main yacht to the land, and back and forth, like a little water taxi. He comes, middle of the night. She's on the night shift. So there's only like 2 people working the whole boat at
The
night.
official trailer for season 2 of the Laura Croft show's
He seemed
out.
already high from narcotics and alcohol. She claimed that he was ordering her to pour him shots while he was playing Me and You by Cassie. Yes, by Cassie Ventura. This is in 2022. This song would have been over a decade old. And this is his dad's ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
And they had broken up by this point, yeah. So anyway, that night, Grace alleges, she noticed Christian being more attentive to her, which she didn't like. It didn't feel appropriate. And he keeps insisting that she take a shot with him, which is not the most uncommon thing. Although she didn't want to, she thought, well, if I just take one shot, he's going to let me go back and let me do my damn job. But no. She takes a shot and he keeps asking her to sit beside him, help keep him company, which of course is not in her job description, nor does she want to. She
the anime.
leaving, but he's getting more aggressive,
The animated show.
grabbing her arm violently, insisting more shots, more shots. This is nighttime. She barely has any crew members. She can't find help right now, and she's starting to feel the effects of this one shot. She thought it was spiked. The situation escalates. Grace alleges Christian starts touching her on her private areas over her clothes and tries kissing her on the neck and face. And everyone starts blurring around her. She feels drugged. Christian and his attorneys have denied the allegations and have called the lawsuit lewd and meritless. Whereas Diddy's attorneys have stated that they haven't seen the claims yet, but quote, but we can expect the same kind of manufactured lies. But a lot of netizens are having a hard time believing that when there is an alleged audio clip transcribed into the lawsuit. So I'm assuming her attorneys have the actual audio that has not been released to the public, but it's been transcribed.
Yeah,
into
December.
The lawsuit. The audio clip was recorded.
Excuse
by
me,
Rodney
camera.
Jones, a producer
December
of Rod,
has
brought onto the yacht to
quite a
film
bit of things. I'm pretty sure Stranger
album that
Things,
was released in
or that comes out
2023,
this month.
ironically named
Um,
Love Album.
and then
Rodney Jones was allegedly
Percy
ordered
Jackson
to
season
record
2.
Ordered by who?
Diddy. Record everything for the creative process, but also potentially for a Hulu show,
Like a camera and everything, tape rolling type of thing?
just on his phone.
Okay.
Because I guess they could include it into shows or into music videos.
Okay.
There's an audio recording of the alleged essay. Christian is telling Grace, yo, it's shot o'clock.
Are you talking about this
Tiny,
night-
focus on me.
night, the
There we
first
go.
night that he
Yes.
came on?
Yeah.
And Little Raw was recording?
There's an audio recording. I don't know if he was in the room, but he has the recording, and I guess he gave it to Grace later.
Or like he had cameras and stuff
Yes.
set up that's
Yes.
recording? Whoa.
Now, Lil Rod will sue Diddy as well, which we'll get into right after this. Yeah, and Christian says, yo, it's shot o'clock. Grace responds, I'm not doing shots, Christian. Everybody, we gotta take a shot. I'll just put the ledge. No, take the whole thing. No, you take it as well. Christian tells her, no, take the whole thing, take the whole thing. Grace keeps saying, I'll take the whole shot if you take it as well. So it's likely she said this because she thought it was spiked at this point. So it's like, you take the shot from the same bottle then.
Yeah.
And he said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not taking nothing. Please, take the shot. And she asks, are you drugging me?
That is terrifying.
Yeah. And he responds, take the shot. Hey, yo, play another beat one time. So I guess maybe Lil Rod is in the room. Someone's in the room and they start playing Me and You in the background by Cassie. Grace tells him, I can't. I'm swapping out. I can't do it. I'm sorry, darling. Nah, we need you. I'm gonna stop. I have to go. Honestly, I'm already losing sleep. I have to go now. You're the best one on the ship, though. What do you mean? Who's gonna replace you? Who's gonna replace me? Which sounds like a threat of firing her, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be who's gonna replace her tonight. I don't know, but that's what the transcript shows. Grace continues, excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If you want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that. Later, Grace states again, well, you can take your hand off my ass for the first thing. This part wasn't recorded, but she recalls later that night, Christian kept asking her to find him a place to sleep, which there were no more spare staterooms and cabins, and he refused to go back to shore.
I don't remember what I was talking about.
Him and Justin had their own place on shore. So she leads him to the cinema because sometimes people would crash there. So she leads him there and sets up a spot for him to sleep, which is her job. And he allegedly blocks her from exiting. She states he became aggressive and started cornering her, groping her. She was pushing him back. He took off his clothes and revealed his private parts while allegedly forcing her to try and get her to go down, pushing her head down. She fought him off and finally runs out of the cinema. And immediately the next morning, she complained to the yacht's captain. But the captain did not care. What's wilder is Grace alleges that Diddy's employees, his chief of staff, who is right now being compared to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Who's chief of staff?
Diddy's chief of staff, like
Okay.
his.
Oh, Stranger Things, I think, comes out this month.
Is being
Percy Jackson season 2 comes out next month.
Maxwell, which we did cover the Epstein case, by the way. She found out about it, allegedly told Diddy, and instead of Diddy being a good father like he claims to be, and set the record straight, go to the police, figure it out, discipline Christian, turn him in, whatever it needs, he just pays off the captain to keep him quiet and not corroborate Grace's story, if you will, and eventually she was terminated by that captain. It does appear that Grace likely has a strong case considering there's audio from that night, but that brings us to Rodney Jones, the producer that gave Grace the audio. He has also filed a lawsuit against Diddy. His lawsuit alleges that he was brought on to produce Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album, Off the Grid, and his life has fallen apart since. For over a year, he worked to help produce 9 songs on Diddy's
This
album.
is video 2 of
He
4.
always wanted him around to record everything in case he has a spark of creative genius, I guess.
Been working on an album, the Love Album, Off the Grid by Diddy, and it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not. Taking this album on has required so much time. Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done, and the truth is we'll be up for days.
He would live with Diddy for months, spending holidays with him, leaving his family to work on this. And he claims because of Diddy's insistence of having everything recorded, he now has hundreds of hours of Diddy's footage and audio recordings. And many of those allegedly depict them engaging in seriously illegal activity, which, I mean, the feds are going to have a field day with those files if he really does have those files.
But that's so fascinating. Why would Diddy want him to do that? Maybe his head's getting way too big.
I think so. One of the most intelligent people I know is a polyglot, aka she knows multiple languages fluently. She even dreams in each language whenever she travels to that specific country. It's like a super cool secret superpower or a cool party trick.
Yeah, I've dreamed in Korean. It's not... Yes, I have a new camera.
I'm learning Korean, but I am nowhere near close to being fully bilingual, nor can I sit down and read a book in full Korean either, unless it's like a children's book. But my family friend who's a polyglot, she reads, writes, and can even tell the difference between accents in each language she speaks. She grew up speaking English and French, and now she's completely fluent in those plus Chinese, Spanish, and she knows a little bit of Arabic for religious reasons. So with Rosetta Stone, you can become bilingual, trilingual, or even 25-lingual because Rosetta Stone offers 25 different language learning programs. Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning program available on desktop or an app in case you're actively traveling around that country. The app is the way to go, and it truly immerses you in that language that you want to learn. If you're looking to brush up on a childhood language like me with Korean, or starting from scratch like I am with Chinese, or looking to advance your vocabulary and more, Rosetta Stone is the most affordable, best option for long-term retention and fast language acquisition. One of the only ways my family friend is able to stay fluent in all 4 languages is because she has the ability to travel to each country for work. However, that's definitely not the majority of us, and take it from her, Rosetta Stone is the best alternative option. The programs immerse you in so many ways, and even if you can't travel or converse with native speakers in person, Rosetta Stone has built-in true accent feature that gives you feedback on your pronunciation, like a personal trainer for your specific accent. And remember how I said that with Rosetta Stone you can be bilingual, trilingual, even 25-lingual? Well, now with Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership, you get access to all 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Spanish, French, Italian, German, Korean, Chinese, Dutch, Arabic, Polish, and so on. Don't put off learning that language. There is no better time than right now to get started. Rotten Mango listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/rotten. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/rotten today.
So, the French...
It's almost a holiday.
The French are toxic towards Americans.
Was with the help of Shopify.
I'm pretty sure
It's
just
really
us.
Jack, my husband, my sister-in-law, and I were able to surprise my grandfather, well, my husband's grandfather, with a storefront for his paintings. He had been this classical Chinese painter for basically his entire life. He shelved his professional dreams for his family, and with the help of my husband, his other granddaughter, and a lot of help from Shopify's global commerce program, we were able to turn his hobby into a full-blown business and surprise him with all the profits, which honestly, he was just so astonished to even make $1 from his artwork. To him, he felt like a true artist. It was a fulfillment of a lifelong dream, and it would have been really difficult without Shopify. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to did we just hit 1 million orders stage, Shopify's there to help you grow at every stage of your business. That's exactly why we love Shopify, because even though we were selling limited editions of Grandpa Mango's work, Shopify was with us through all of it. For Grandpa Mango, we were able to sell more artwork like posters, prints, originals with less effort, just like millions of brands, because Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and they are the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because Shopify helps you sell everywhere, turning browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading e-commerce platforms. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify and their new AI-powered all-star Shopify Magic have got you covered. Their award-winning help is here to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/rotten, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/rotten to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/rotten. The alleged criminal activity, according to the lawsuit, include drug usage and distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, GHB, marijuana, and mushrooms, displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms, Diddy providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers, Christian Combs drugging and assaulting a woman, Mr. Combs, Diddy, detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with famous pastor T.D. Jakes to do damage control.
Oh yeah, TD Jakes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he told Little Rod allegedly that he uses him to do damage control.
Whoa.
Which I personally, in my opinion, I would find that a little believable with his constant bringing up of God while he's doing allegedly very demonic stuff.
Yeah.
He also alleges in his lawsuit that Young Miami of City Girls, her cousin, essayed him, that actor Cuba Gooding Jr. essayed him and assaulted him, that redacted rapper, the name is redacted on the lawsuit, redacted rapper on the yacht was consorting with underage girls, redacted R&B singer in Diddy's LA home was consorting with underage girls and sex workers. So these are the serious criminal allegations that he's bringing forth in his lawsuit. He claims he witnessed the Combs family allegedly, potentially, maybe, shoot someone, which we will cover that more in part 3, but Rodney Jones alleges in his lawsuit, throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. A brief list of allegations further include, now again, these are allegations, Diddy would shower and walk around naked while forcing Rodney Jones to work in the bathroom, which is already odd. Rodney said that he told the chief of staff, Christina Coram, who is now being compared to Ghislaine, that he was very uncomfortable, but she just downplayed it all as friendly horse playing. That's just Diddy's way of showing he likes you.
What's horse playing?
Like, boys will be boys. Horse playing is like play fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even give that excuse if I had a son who's 7, let alone a middle-aged man. Rodney said his idol in life has always been Stevie J, the musical artist, which, by the way, again, these are allegations brought forth by his lawsuit that is publicly available online. I don't know these people. Which Diddy then allegedly shows him a clip of Stevie J having intimate relations with a man without a condom. There are screenshots included in the lawsuit.
Of the video?
Yeah. I don't know. Look,
Oh yeah, because I guess if you don't have a picture menu, you can't point to the menu.
Diddy wanted to do, which was sexual activities with other men. According to him, Diddy said, "This is normal practice in the industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it." He states that Diddy promised him to win a Grammy for Producer of the Year if he engaged in gay intimate relations. Another allegation is that during Thanksgiving 2022, Young Miami of City Girls, her cousin was present at Diddy's gathering, and he alleges while he was using the restroom, her cousin just burst in through the room to the bathroom and starts groping him. He believes Diddy sent her to do this. She begins performing oral on him, where he alleges he pushes her off and exits the bathroom, but she's not done. He goes out to the main area where everybody else is. There's staff, there's Diddy, there's allegedly Young Miami there, and she just starts undressing, attempting to straddle him in front of everybody.
I thought we were saying that her cousin was Cuba Gooding Jr., and I was like,
that he was forced to solicit workers and perform sex acts to pleasure Diddy. It's unclear if it's the same setup of a freak off, but it sounds kind of like it. He once states that he woke up dizzy and confused. He was naked, looked around, and he was in bed with 2 sex workers and Mr. Combs. It's unclear what happened that night. Rodney Jones alleges that once Diddy allegedly threatened cannibalism on him, ? The lawsuit reads, Mr. Combs would switch up his approach. He would go from promising Mr. Jones the world to threatening Mr. Jones with physical harm. Mr. Combs threatened to eat Mr. Jones' face and informed Mr. Jones that he is willing to kill his own mother, Janice Combs, if he must in order to get what he wants, so he wouldn't think twice to harm Mr. Jones. The lawsuit states that at parties, Justin, the eldest biological son that he has with Misa Hilton, and Sean would have minors under the age of 16 present. He alleges Diddy would force them to all drink the De Leon tequila, which he believed to be laced with ecstasy. The presence of underage women allegedly made him very uncomfortable.
So he has all the recordings.
Yes, I don't know if
Thanatos!
were recorded. However, I will say, believe all victims, but in the court of law, there are some cases that are inevitably going to be stronger because there's a lot of evidence that comes with it. His lawsuit has lots of pictures. So I'm leaning towards the belief that he does have a lot of footage. And I'm leaning towards the belief that he is working with the feds. Now, some people actually speculate that Cassie's lawsuit was not the one that kickstarted the Fed investigation.
It was his.
That maybe he had started working with the feds, filed his own lawsuit, and the feds publicly started getting involved.
When was his lawsuit filed?
A few months after Cassie's. He brings up more of like the RICO conspiracies, the racketeering, which the feds take very seriously. Whereas for Cassie's, I think it's more focused on the sex trafficking. Yeah, which obviously sex trafficking is more serious, but, America. The presence of the underage woman made Mr. Jones very uncomfortable. He attempted to leave, but Diddy went as far as stealing his car keys to prevent him from leaving. He was forced to take shots, and he woke up naked with a sex worker next to him. Now, side note, he alleges that Justin Combs would partake in those freak-offs. He has also included pictures of Diddy kissing who he claims women at his party. I say alleged, the picture is there, but it's unclear if they're underage. The lawsuit continues. It is no secret that Mr. Combs had specific bottles of alcohol designated for females and other bottles designated for his staff, his artists, and himself. This fact was detailed by former artists and bodyguards of Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs would even have sets of Moet champagne bottles for his artists and a set for women. He also alleges that Diddy's chief of staff instructed employees to lace liquor bottles with ecstasy and other illicit drugs, and all the staff would have to walk around with pink cocaine, which is a mixture of ecstasy and cocaine, in their pockets because Diddy would freak out if he didn't have pink cocaine within arm's reach at all times.
Oh, she did an episode on that.
Likens the chief of staff, Christina, as Ghislaine Maxwell in his lawsuit. He claims Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Due to his treasure trove of evidence he has in his possession, Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and untouchable. Like I said, in the lawsuit, there were those photos of Stevie J, but do that with what you will. I don't know. It's very unclear what he's doing in the screenshots. He's shirtless. It's unclear if you can even say definitively if it's him, but that would be a crazy accusation to make if you didn't believe that to be 100% true. Like speaking from Rodney Jones's fact. Because even including that, he must believe it's 100% true, or it is true. Because think about the repercussions. Rodney Jones also alleges that Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. He also shared that he was the one responsible for the shooting in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine, the one with J-Lo. Mr. Combs has made it clear that his head of security had the power to make people and problems disappear. Lil Rod would say about Diddy, he's a monster. He will do whatever is necessary to get exactly what he wants. He doesn't take no for an answer.
And on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that. So I'm fighting back. He's a fighter, but I'm gonna put in this fight. I gotta do it for myself, my rights, and most importantly, my kids.
Here I am standing up for justice, for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I've had many nights and weeks and months of self-exit thoughts. It's the music that has kept me living all my life. He said he's paranoid about what could possibly happen to him. He's hired security to protect him. He said during a recent performance, my anxiety was out through the roof. I saw different guys backstage I didn't know and I got scared. I wondered where the security was. It made me very uncomfortable. It's not a good feeling wondering if someone is there to attack me. If all alleged in the lawsuit is true, it is clear that anyone who crosses Diddy should be very scared. November 15th, 2018. 47-year-old Kim Porter is found dead in her home. Her goddaughter found her in the bed at around 8:30 a.m. She assumed she was sleeping in that morning, but then checked again at around 11, 3 hours later, and she hadn't moved. She freaked out, called 911. Authorities rushed to the scene. They see Kim laying motionless in bed. Next to Kim's bed on her nightstand, bottles of water, sports drinks, Pedialyte, as well as what appeared to be a bowl of tomato soup. She was declared dead 11:40 a.m. The call came in as a report that someone was in cardiac arrest. Kim had apparently not been feeling well for the past few days, honestly weeks. It said that she had pneumonia or symptoms of a flu. She didn't know at the time. She was just not feeling well. She tried to get it treated with saline, vitamins. She went to bed early the night before she was found. Alarmingly, she told someone that she had a mild streak of blood in her phlegm when coughing, but it does not appear that it came back. She was on antibiotics, IV fluids, and then unfortunately she passed away. Diddy says the day Kim passed, he, quote, jumped into mommy mode. I sent people in every direction to try and make sure the kids would not hear about it on social media or the news. I had to get the girls from the school. I had to find Quincy, who was on set in Atlanta, Christian, who was on a plane. I had to get his phone disconnected so he couldn't read it on the air. There was screaming and crying when I heard the news, of course, but I had to ask myself, what would Kim do? I was scared. I was crying out to God and to her, and immediately, almost immediately, Kim's voice kicked in, and I could hear her saying, make sure you take care of my babies. He would later say that day turned my world upside down. 3 days before she passed, she wasn't feeling well. She had the flu. And she sent the kids over to my house so they wouldn't get sick. And one night I was checking on her and she was like, Puffy, take care of my babies. She actually said that to me before she died. He held a memorial at his home where Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, French Montana, and other high-profile celebrities were in attendance. He says this about his relationship with Kim Porter. Whenever I was around her, I felt like God had his hand in it. I always felt like God had sent her. Nobody could love me the way she loved me, especially as crazy as I acted. She loved me through some real shit. He would later state in a public statement about her, God broke the mold when he made Kim. There was truly no other woman like her. God sent her to teach me something, which, side note, is already kind of an odd statement that doesn't sit well with a lot of people. No woman exists to teach a man something, but I digress. He continues. There's levels and dimensions to love, and especially love between a man and a woman. There's this place that almost goes beyond friendship. It's like where two people actually feel like a level of responsibility to love this person forever and total trust. And I was like, man, you had it. I'm not saying I would do anything differently, God willing. I just wish I had more time, I look at my life as I got a second chance. I'm on my second mountain. At her funeral, he would say, some people in your life, going to be irreplaceable. Kim, we're going to miss you so much, but I'm not going to miss you too much because I'm not going to let your voice inside me stop talking. I know you like to talk to me a lot once you get on those rants, and I just want you to know that I'm going to be listening.
What is Kim's official cause of death?
Her cause of death is considered natural. Yeah, we'll get to it. So he does all these tributes to Kim, and this is going to be kind of strange when you listen to the next part of this series because he does a lot of tributes to a lot of people who pass, which I guess is normal if you're an artist, but still. He would even dedicate a track named after her on his new album that was released in 2023, the Love album, where he says this. It's like I'm going through a midlife crisis, being a single father raising 3 teenage girls, but it's love and nothing else. I truly feel like this is God's way of making me into the best human I can become, and it's life-changing. I always said that I couldn't make a hit record unless my heart is broken. It's just like a vulnerable state that you're in. When I lost Kim, it broke my heart forever. A close friend of his said about Diddy's tribute to Kim, after Kim, he was trying to find purpose, and nothing feeds his soul like music. He also says about therapy, Therapy probably likely really saved my brain, because when you have a genius brain, it's also a crazy brain. Of course, there are questions of how someone just passes away like that, seemingly out of nowhere. She was healthy.
My God.
Caught pneumonia, which if you have pre-existing conditions, if you are of older age, if you have low immunity, if you have other health complications, pneumonia could be fatal, but it's not considered this deadly thing. So it's just not as many people pass away from pneumonia is...
Like it's treatable, right?
Yes, is the netizen sentiment. And again, I'm not saying nobody has fatal or life-altering consequences from pneumonia, but it's just not typically known to be this very terrifying fatal condition. It was later determined that Kim Porter had died from lobar pneumonia. The manner of death listed on her autopsy is natural. Detectives told the media that police do not suspect foul play. In addition, Diddy has been extremely cooperative. Some netizens were agreeing with this sentiment, pointing out how prior to her death, she seemed like she was in a good place with Diddy. In honor of his 49th birthday, which was a week before her death, she posted on Instagram, "Happy birthday, Diddy. On this day, a genius was born. May you continue to be the driving force of energy that God created you to be. Thank you for giving me the best gifts of life, our children." But a lot of others don't think that she died of a natural death. But who are we? We're just people on the internet. Some have stated, you know what else gives you pneumonia? This is a recent conspiracy lately. Accidentally inhaling baby oil. There are lots of conspiracies that there is no way that Kim died of pneumonia. Gene Deal, the former bodyguard, said, "That case needs to be reopened, man. That case really needs to be reopened." He alleges that Kim was found dead with bruises throughout her body, and interestingly, he claims nobody knows to this day where Kim Porter's phone is, which is odd. He also alleges that it's strange. This was in 2018, so they have the cloud. They have all these things. Why didn't anyone go in and try to investigate her last text or where her phone location is? Why can't they find my iPhone? He also states that her tablet and computer have gone missing since they found her dead, which I'm not privy to any specific information like this. I'm just giving you his allegations. He says, "Find my phone." Nobody tried to find her phone? He's asked, "You personally, what do you think happened to Kim Porter?" Gene Deal responds, "I'm not a medical professional, nor was I an investigator on that case, but I don't believe that an individual with her, I want to say financial status, would lay up in that house and die of pneumonia without a doctor or some kind of medical person responsible. Someone with enough money that they could get half the hospital to come to the house? I think there may have been some, I guess, foul play. Because if you knew what I knew, he put Kim in a gold casket. Then he has security, 24-hour security at the funeral home so nobody would go in there and take Kim out of there. I think they should reopen her case and have an independent pathologist look at everything about her so she can rest in peace." He also brings up how many sources state that she received a massage because she wasn't feeling well the night before her passing. He points out, that's so weird. Who gets a massage when they have pneumonia? You don't want people touching you. If you have the flu, you're like, don't touch me. I want to lay here.
Yes.
Nobody move my body. He also brings up, again, these are his viewpoints, but someone needs to look into if they used baby oil during the massage, is what he states, because there are now allegations circulating that the baby oil was laced with something. So you feel like she was murdered? I feel like there was a lot of foul play in her death. A lot of foul play. He's asked, but why would someone want Kim Porter dead? He responds very ominously. There's a couple of women in this industry, and for their sake, I will not mention their names. Listen to me, there are a couple of women, probably more than a handful or two, but I know about 4 of them that knows everybody's dirty secrets. And if those secrets get exposed and tell what some of those guys and some of these people were really doing behind closed doors in those boardrooms, in and out of the closet, their life would be in danger because men wasn't men and women were acting like men. And that's all I'm gonna say. But he does not believe the Amazon book is Kim's diary entries or in any way related to Kim. He says, if you've seen excerpts from that book, then you know Kim didn't write this book. If you know Kim and you've been around Kim...
Wait, so this guy, what's his name?
Gene Deal.
Gene Deal was a bodyguard during the time of Kim Porter.
Yes, so he was actually a bodyguard for a lot of famous musicians and executives. He was well known in the industry. He doubled as a cop. He worked as a child abuse investigator as well as probation officer for most of his life. So people really liked him because he's very clean cut is the vibe. So he gets hired by Diddy when Diddy is dating Kim Porter. And he says that Diddy never really ever hit Kim Porter in front of him, but he would hear from the other bodyguards. So for him, his perception, his allegation is that Diddy only does things with people he thinks he can get away with. And for him, because he has a job as a cop, he's saying, if I see Diddy hit anyone, I'm arresting Diddy because I'm not trying to lose my pension. I'm not trying to lose my job as a cop. So he knows that I'm not going to put up with it. He said that Diddy once cussed out his mom in the car, and he went off on Diddy and was like, you don't talk to your mother like that.
Wow.
But then he later heard, allegedly from other bodyguards, that Diddy was like slapping his mom in the face. But it never happened when he was there.
Wow.
He's been pretty vocal, and his story has never really changed, it appears. So a lot of netizens find him credible. But again, that's an opinion. These are allegations. He says, and if you've been around Kim, if she was going to do a book, she wouldn't have included all those things, talking sexually like that. She's got 2 boys, 2 girls, and she was a mother first. She wasn't going to say the stuff that she was saying and about Puff in a manner that was written in that book. It seems to me that whoever wrote the book was really out to get Diddy and did it in whatever means possible, but disrespecting Kim and who she was as a mother, I don't think that's right. I think she deserves better. Side note, it does not appear that Diddy has filed a lawsuit against Gene Deal, which a lot of people think add to his credibility, which is again just an opinion. One netizen comment reads, the fact that Diddy hasn't yet filed a lawsuit against Gene Deal with all the things he said about Diddy is the most telling realization of all. Some people now believe that Kim Porter's death needs to be reinvestigated, but they also believe that she's the one that wrote that memoir on Amazon. Again, I can't dictate what others believe. I'm just telling you what's out there. Some believe that that memoir is real. They point to an interview that was done in 2012, so 6 years before her death, where in the interview, Kim talks about wanting to write a book. I will say it doesn't appear that she's referencing a memoir or any sort of tell-all book at all. She says,
but I've been in the business and been around the business. It's become a phenomenon. It's a culture. It's a, it's just for me, I wanted to present something beautiful and package it and almost like an ode to them for what they've done.
Some netizens think that she's just using that as a cover to write a memoir. Some netizen comments read, if this book is false, how come the author hasn't been sued? I mean, I really hope it's fake though, because there's a lot of crazy shit in there. Another comment reads, the more that I listen to folk coming up against the book, the more I believe in its authenticity. Others reference Chris Todd's interviews and they say, this man got too much confidence not to have proof that Kim wrote this book. He got some type of proof somewhere because he just has too much confidence. Another says, what if a close friend of Kim's had the actual book and flash drives but is just too scared to come out because they're too interconnected and is using this man as a front? Guys, think about it. Another comment reads, this is a lot of shit to make up. I can see some things being true, but who knows? Then there's another group of people that, yes, they want her death to be investigated, but they don't believe that she wrote that book on Amazon. They comment, that book at first glance, this reeks of a shamelessly fabricated cash grab attempt. I don't know, it just seems a little too convenient, and the stories that I've seen excerpts of appear to be someone just wildly producing sensationalized garbage and toxic gossipy bullshit. I hope for the sake of any potential victims that these things did not occur. Another one comments, this book seems like it was written by ChatGPT or something. Others have been very happy that it's been since pulled from Amazon, stating, I'm glad they took it off Amazon. The nerve of that fraud. R.I.P. Kim. But fueling conspiracies around Kim's death, I'll be sure Kim's previous partner, the father of her first child, has made a statement. In it, he basically insinuates 2 things. 1, that Diddy might have something to do with Kim's death. And 2, that Diddy might have put him in a coma. Okay.
Wait.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
He is...
Quincy's dad, artist, he's a well-known artist back in the day, I'll be sure. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but in an Instagram post, he states in 2024, Kim and I talked right up to a few days prior to her demise. She was in good health, and we were in such a great friend space, reminiscing about old times and celebrating the news of our son's accomplishments. In a nutshell, Kimberly was allegedly taken from us because she was set on a course to accomplish what Miss Cassie Ventura did by igniting the bonfire, which brings us here today, with the avalanche that has brought Satan to their chambers. He also hashtags FBI, DOJ, Department of Justice, as well as the CIA, DEA, NYPD, LAPD. He has called for a, quote, investigation into an entire group of individuals who worked at or around the residence of Miss Kimberly Porter. Because, quote, the individuals involved in this matter may also be connected to also concealing the alleged murders of several prominent artists. He's alluding to Tupac and Biggie, which we will talk about in the next one. Side note, I'll be sure, interestingly enough, believes that Kim was working on a book to expose Diddy. That's why she was allegedly taken too soon. Before she could expose him in a book, and then later someone stole her computer, is what he alleges. But he doesn't think that that Amazon book is the book. Because everyone's saying the way that the book is written is just not the way that Kim Porter speaks. Yeah, and then there's factual inaccuracies. Even the bodyguard doesn't think it's the book. There's just so many people that have come out against the book that are against Diddy. And Al B. Sure goes on to allege that he had a health scare in 2022. This is actually true. He did fall into a coma, and the vice president, Kamala Harris, even wrote him a letter. Yeah. They're all very well connected. Yeah, he's a very prominent artist, and I believe he's an activist on the side as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's been invited to a lot of state dinners, and so is his son, Quincy. Yeah.
Huh.
Now, he collapsed in July of 2022, fell into a coma, wakes up, it's October 2022. He was in a coma for around 3 months. To this day, it seems unclear what exactly caused the coma, but he kind of implies that perhaps Diddy was involved. He announced his documentary and states, "You will really understand how I ended up in a coma. You're really gonna need to call Homeland Security." Later, he's asked to clarify that ominous statement, and someone asked straight up, did Diddy try to kill you? He just responds, "Please understand very carefully. Me talking about situations for more than a decade and a half, and then all of a sudden, everybody woke up like, whoa, yo, we thought you were crazy. But what I'm not is a liar. That I am not. All I did was give the science, and I was ignored, laughed at, ridiculed. But whatever, that's okay. My God is so much bigger. My God got me."
So he's saying that he's been talking about Diddy for like a decade?
Yes, but I don't think so publicly. Because he's actually seemingly a very non-controversial person. Yeah. He also has had lingering health problems for a while. He did have bariatric surgery. He suffered from renal failure, amongst other things. So it's very unclear what caused the coma. But a lot of people believe him because he just seems to be very credible. He hasn't been this controversial figure for most of his life. But others point out, Al B. Sure had a child with Kim Porter and formally dated her. He did not take an active role in his son's life, and Puffy ended up unofficially adopting and raising that child. So they're saying, because you're not a good dad, you don't deserve to have an opinion here. Another netizen comments, what does that have to do with Puffy and what he might have done to Kim? Some question that perhaps Al wasn't in his son's life because Diddy wouldn't let him be. But that's just another pure speculation. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, states, Al's a real good dude. Do you know what I mean? So if Al is saying something that's happened to him and Puff has something to do with it, trust and believe he's going to have some evidence to substantiate that Puff had something to do with it. Either he gave him something or sent something his way.
At least so far, it seems like everyone around them are very vocal about how shady Diddy is. I haven't really heard anybody who's backing Diddy's story. Have you seen many reports?
No, but that has been a question of why aren't people backing Diddy? And so the biggest thing is all of his friends have gone quiet.
Yeah.
Some people think it's because...
Right, all the conspiracies.
Yes, because people are saying if you're not in some sort of tape, if Diddy has nothing on you, why would you not come out and condemn his actions for the hotel footage that has been proven that is him beating Cassie?
Yeah.
Because you might not have known that as a friend, and to come out and say, I don't condone this, I don't endorse this is not the type of friend that I would ever keep in my quarters. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I mean, that's one, but also even like the people around in their families and people who worked with him, like just people in general.
Yeah, they're very quiet.
Right? Like, yeah.
In regards to Al B. Sure hiring security, which he has hired security, Gene says, I don't think nobody would be paying for security unless they thought their life was in danger. Same thing with Rodney Jones. While many agree with Al B. Sure, some have comments. I guess this is his chance to get back in the news.
What?
Yeah. One party that is clearly not on the same page as Al B. Sure about Kim Porter's death are Kim's children. They have released a joint statement, mainly in regards to the book that has been circulating. They took to Instagram to state, we have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. Claims that our mom wrote a book are simply untrue. She did not. And anyone claiming to have a manuscript is misrepresenting themselves. Additionally, please understand that any so-called friend speaking on behalf of our mom or her family is not a friend, nor do they have her best interest at heart. The cause of her death has long been established. There was no foul play. Grief is a lifelong process, and we ask that everyone respect our request for peace as we continue to cope with her loss every day. We are deeply saddened that the world has made a spectacle of what has been the most tragic event of our lives. Our mother should be remembered for the beautiful, strong, kind, and loving woman that she was. Her memory should not be tainted by horrific conspiracy theories. Another one of Kim's longtime friends took to Instagram to write, I'm going to say this as loud as I can. Kim Porter never drafted, nor wrote a book, memoir, or a manuscript. Kim would never do such a thing, and that's the honest-to-God truth. Another states, Kim Porter never
And that's the gospel truth.
The baseless pages in the book not only misrepresent Miss Porter's lived experience and legacy, but also continue to cause unnecessary distress to her loved ones. Kim's former attorney has also spoken out, saying she would be turning over in her grave right now. Kim never even gave an interview about her private life. She would never do that to her children. She had plenty to say, but she would never do so publicly. There would be no amount of money that could make her write a memoir. She would never do anything to hurt Puffy's reputation because she has children with him. It is impossible that that is her journal. It's comical. She never even spoke that way. She never wrote that way. She was articulate. She was classy. She would never write something like that. There would be no need for her to do that. She also states, I guarantee she was not part of those freak-offs. I think she would have cut off his penis if he ever proposed that to her, which kind of goes against what others have stated, but it's up for you to decide what you believe, right? One netizen comments read, two things can be true at the same time. There can be legitimate questions about Kim's death, and also her children can be upset about the tabloid media and weirdos on the internet making a spectacle about those legitimate questions. It's a terrible situation. They have my sympathies. So as I was researching, there's a lot of AI-generated videos that have been going around about this case. It's not even just people asking for an investigation into her death and talking about the allegations that have been brought forth about Diddy's alleged behavior towards Kim Porter and how that could have contributed to her passing in 2018. But just like straight crazy rumors. Like she was, I can't even repeat them. They're just so bad.
I see. Yeah, okay.
Another reads, I feel for the kids, but Kim's death should
No, I want a
absolutely be
color.
looked at differently in hindsight. Diddy is a
No, we gotta do
long-standing
the
Hollywood
blanket.
conspiracy that has pieces falling into place left and right. There's going to be an intense amount of speculation because, to be honest, there has always been. We just have some proof lining up now. But another commentator writes, leave this alone, leave the kids alone, make him be resting in peace. Another reads, these poor kids are losing everything. Let them grieve their mother in peace while the rest of the world is watching their father's downfall. Even if two of these kids aren't underage, they still deserve some privacy and respect. Another reads, goddamn, I'm so tired of the conspiracy-addicted dipshits who think they are the world's greatest detectives. Half the people in this thread need to get off the fucking phone, man. Now, I will say that a lot of these comments, people are defending the kids, and I think a lot of the times, everyone is mainly defending the girls, the twins. And when they are defending Christian, a lot of them don't know that he has a lawsuit against him. So there's more discourse once you read more replies of them being like, oh, I didn't even know that he was part of it. Because they were writing about him in a way that he is purely innocent. And he is innocent until proven guilty, but just letting you know, there is a lawsuit against him.
Welcome me.
Ingrid commenting, we are talking about a man who is accused of multiple murders, rapes, and domestic violence and other atrocities, but speculating about the suspicious death of the mother of his children is where we cross the line. Kim Porter's father has made an interesting statement to Daily Mail. He says, when I saw the video of what he did to Cassie, I was disgusted. I don't really have much to say beyond that. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty, I guess, but the truth will come out. He never states that he wants another look into the death of his daughter, but he does state that the previous investigation was, quote, a load of crap. Another family member of Kim states, I remember Kim as a little girl. She was just the sweetest little girl, and I remember how she grew up to be so beautiful and talented, but I saw the change in her when we visited her out in California when she was with him. She changed. Something wasn't right. Now, I feel in my spirit that he's guilty, but justice will have to take its course. If she was my daughter, I would be demanding that the investigation be reopened. So with that, Christian Combs has been in the news again, because just 2 days after his dad's recent court hearing, the one where they set his trial date to May of 2025, 2 days after that, he was spotted partying with his girlfriend, pouring shots into her mouth, which is just not a good look because...
Like at a nightclub?
Yeah, but again, not a good look. Yeah, it's a little odd. Some people are defending Christian Combs, saying, y'all need to stop it with judging this family for real. Y'all have convicted the whole
Yes.
family over here.
Well, I'm making
And once again, when you
a
read
habit
through it,
tracker
I
now.
notice that people are reminding everyone Christian Combs has also been named in a civil lawsuit. Other comments read, let him live as he's already lost his mother. I did the same thing at that age. Everybody deals with family crisis differently. Others comment, what do you expect from him to do? Cry in his room? Others have pointed out that his girlfriend's nails are painted white. And some just think it's just not very tasteful or smart for him to be partying. And this is part 2. Part 3 will be about the 13 people who have mysteriously died around Diddy. There's also a very, very alarming pattern, like I said, of just the strange ways he responds to death. And finally, part 4 will be the so-called Diddy's List and all the internet allegations, as well as there have been some new lawsuits that have been filed against him, including Diddy being listed in a lawsuit filed against Kanye West. So there is a lot going on right now, a lot of new developments and discourse every day. Stay tuned and be safe, and I will see you in the next one.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Weird things happen in Times Square, New York, especially on Saturday nights. But even by those standards, this is about to get very strange.
Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom.
For some reason, these aren't
2012.
in
Machine Gun Kelly
They're-
makes a tweet. That tweet reads, okay, so I just saw a picture of Eminem's daughter, and I have to say, she's hot as in the most respectful way possible because Eminem is king. The problem with this tweet at that point in 2012 is that Eminem's daughter would have been 16 years old at the time. And then nothing happened from this tweet. For about 5 years, nothing happened. There were no repercussions. There were these little whispers and interviews that MGK does that allude to the idea that perhaps Eminem was unhappy with that tweet, and perhaps Eminem was trying to blackball him from the industry because of that tweet.
What did you say about his daughter that got him so mad?
Yes.
What did you say? You know what I said.
That she's hot.
She's hot.
You have to admit you was out of line.
These are just internet rumors. These are celebrity gossip. It's not until 2018 that it gets confirmed. These two do not like each other. In 2018, Machine Gun Kelly drops a song called Rap Devil. Now, this is very interesting because it's a play on words. If you guys know anything about Eminem's discography, one of his most famous, well-known songs, it's called Rap God. So for Machine Gun Kelly to drop Rap Devil, it's clearly a hit on Eminem. Once you read the lyrics, it gets even crazier, and these two start dropping diss tracks against each other, and we're not here to talk about MGK and Eminem. It's just that as they're releasing these diss tracks, there is one name that keeps popping up in all their songs. Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs. In Rap Devil, MGK raps about how he's signed with Bad Boy Records, and the lyrics read, "Why you
I'm gonna have to get a
claiming that I'm
different
going to
pen
Puff when
to
you're the
use
one that called
these.
Diddy? Then you went and called Jimmy." Jimmy is a guy that runs Interscope Records, which MGK is also part of. "They conferenced me in the morning, and they told me that you was mad about a tweet. You wanted me to say sorry? I swear to God, I didn't even believe him. Please say it's not so. The big bad bully of the rap game can't take a fucking joke." He's basically saying, hello world, Eminem was so mad for the past 6 years, so mad about this tweet from 6 years ago, that he called both my record label bosses, Diddy, who owns Bad Boy Records, and Jimmy, who owns Interscope Records, to bitch about it. But that's crazy because he's the big bad wolf that can do anything, right? So he can do anything but take a joke? To which Eminem releases a diss track titled Kill Shot, where he makes many disses towards MGK, but again, we're not here to discuss that. We're here for Diddy. He makes a reference for Diddy in that song as well. The lyrics read, "But Kels, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed." Eminem, in his song, whether he is
No, you did
serious or
not.
just creative liberty, he has just now accused Diddy of murder. But at the end of the song, Eminem says, "And I'm just playing, Diddy. You know I love you." Diddy never made a public statement about Eminem's lyrics, but sources that were close to Diddy said he was furious. He was pissed off. So what the hell does this all mean? If he's not joking, that means Eminem truly just accused Diddy of killing one of the biggest names in the rap world, Tupac? But that was in 2018. Nobody was focusing on Diddy. Nobody was focusing on these lyrics. They were so caught up in the diss tracks between MGK and Eminem, and the fact that Killshot was one of the most viewed videos within 24 hours of releasing. Some people picked up on it, they thought it was clever, but again, it doesn't make mainstream news like that. Until 2024. This year, Eminem releases yet another song called Fuel, and this time it's in your face. The lyrics read, "I'm like an RAPER, got so many essays." Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he?
What?
Rest in peace, Biggie. And Pop.
Wait, I knew this.
Living, but I'm trying to be
I've listened to this song.
He might put a hit out on me, like PPD get him.
Whoa, when was this?
A few months ago. Now, in a 3.5-minute song where Eminem is rapping at an unhumanly fast speed, it might be hard to realize, especially if you don't know many of the people that he's referencing. I mean, the RAPER, that one is very obvious. He's calling P. Diddy a raper. But the next part, he's talking about two rappers that were murdered, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. They were both related to Diddy. One he saw as his main competitor, and the other one he saw as this money-making machine for his label. And within 6 months of each other, both of them were murdered. There are new allegations surfacing that Diddy might be responsible for both, which a lot of people find it very easy to believe, considering that Diddy has a past of people dying around him. This is part 3 of the Diddy case, where we cover the 13 deaths closely linked to Diddy, and all the supposed evidence there might be linking him to those murders. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network. They work constantly to bring solutions to the illegal and human trafficking network in the States. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team. We would also like to thank you guys for your continued support. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. Now, a big disclaimer on this case. It is currently ongoing and developing as we speak. There have been no court verdicts yet, so unfortunately I must legally state that these are all the current allegations and accusations. People are innocent until proven guilty. Some statements have been shortened for time, and furthermore, all reporting for this episode is taken from the information that is already available online. Please form your own opinions and do your own research. I am not here to convince you of anyone's guilt or innocence. Some potentially triggering themes involve heavy use of illicit substances, including date, R-word drugs, DV, workplace and gang violence, SA, trafficking. This case is going to be very heavy. So in part 1, we did a deep dive on Diddy and Cassie's lawsuit, as well as the allegations of the freak-offs and the supposed Illuminati connection. In part 2, we did Diddy's yacht parties and the mysterious death of his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children, Kim Porter, and the so-called memoir that was released on Amazon. This part, we will be talking about the 13 people that are mysteriously linked to Diddy that have died, including hip-hop legends Tupac and Biggie. In part 4, we're going to go over current ongoing allegations, new lawsuits, and all the celebrities that have been listed on the so-called Diddy's list. So another quick disclaimer, I did not grow up in the Tupac Biggie era. I've listened to their songs before, and I know that these are two of the most influential artists to this day. And the significance that they played in the music industry, even posthumously, I mean, I know that much, but in terms of their upbringing, their beliefs in the world, I can only tell you from researching in hindsight. I did speak with people who have a deeper appreciation for the two artists, and I tried to include as much possible, but given the runtime of these pods and the fact that most of the conversation is still going to be centered around Diddy and the potential connection in their deaths, this is not going to cover their artistry, the way that they create music, their beliefs, and the impact that they had on the greater world. I think that would take 3 more episodes. I also know that there's people that are still pro-Tupac or pro-Biggie and not the other. I tried to get a comprehensive overview on both, but I don't have a preference for either, nor am I trying to convince you to like one more over the other. So with that being said, let's get into it. Do you know one of Diddy's biggest songs?
No.
Ew,
Called
gross.
I'm Missing You. When it was released, it hit #1 on the Billboard's Hot 100
Every
charts
step
for 22
I
consecutive
take,
weeks.
every move
Which is kind of
you
insane.
make.
The lyrics read, "Every day I wake up, I hope I'm dreaming. I can't believe this shit. I mean, I saw your son, he looks just like you. You will always be the greatest. You'll always be the greatest. I miss you big." The chorus of the song goes, "Every step I take, every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away, what a life to take, what a bond to break, I'll be missing you." This song is probably the song that many people think of when they want to really resonate with lyrics of losing someone. It's often played at funerals. It's about missing someone that's gone too soon. The whole thing was technically taken, actually, this whole song, from Sting's "Every Breath You Take." He took a sample of that song and he just rewrote the lyrics without receiving the proper permission. Sting actually gets 100% of the royalties for that song to this day, but that is besides the point. It was probably one of the most pivotal songs during that time, and it was a tribute to his fallen friend, Notorious B.I.G. It actually won him a Grammy. But the wild thing is, in 2024, if we live in a world where some of the conspiracies turn out to be true, that means Diddy would have written this song as a tribute to the man that he may have helped kill, and sang it alongside the wife of the man that was murdered. This is the Diddy connection to Tupac and Biggie and their murders that everybody suspects Diddy was involved in. This particular elevator ride is taking a lot longer than normal. This is way back in the day. Typically, to go up 8 floors, it would take about 48 seconds, but this is feeling like a lifetime. When Tupac gets up to the 8th floor, he can't even feel anything. His whole body is numb. He says, "When I got upstairs, I looked around and it scared the shit out of me." He sees standing there Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., famous rapper, alongside 40 other guys, including Sean Diddy Combs. They were all there working on a new album titled, interestingly enough, Conspiracy. Then one of the guys there bursts out crying, "Oh my God, Pac, you have to sit down, you have to sit down." Tupac said, "I was feeling weird, like why do they want me to sit down?" It's like nobody wanted to approach him. He says, "I noticed that nobody would look at me. Diddy was standing back too, and I knew Diddy. He knew how much stuff I had done for his artist Biggie before he came out." Whatever was said, or rather not said in that room, would solidify everything. Because in that cramped room, Tupac is practically alone, having been shot 5 times. Twice in the head, twice in the groin, once in the hand. And he has a feeling that one or a few people in that room have something to do with it. He was shot in the lobby of a studio. He hides in the elevator, takes the elevator up to the 8th floor, and there's Biggie, Diddy, and all these other artists on the east side.
He just got shot
Just got shot. He's bleeding out.
by himself.
And no one wants to approach him, according to Tupac. And it was in that moment that he felt someone in that room had something to do with this shooting. Diddy and Biggie. And perhaps he was right. Perhaps he wasn't right. But within 2 years, Tupac would be dead.
Do you know who shot you?
No, I don't know who
No.
shot me.
So does that mean that you also have no idea why they shot you?
I have no idea why they shot me. It's like anybody's guess.
I haven't met your grandma, but I love your grandma.
I don't really like to talk about it.
There is a conspiracy out there that Tupac Shakur, one of the biggest artists of all time, that he's more actually commonly referred to as a cultural phenomenon than a rapper, has faked their death. That's the conspiracy. Tupac is alive. He's faked his death. He's out there. He's just watching all of us.
What?
This is the conspiracy that he's still alive. So if you know anything about Tupac, a lot of people might have wanted him dead. The vice president at the time, Don Quayle, who served under George W. Bush, he would state about some of Tupac's music, "There is absolutely no reason for a record like this to be published. No reason at all."
Time Warner's a subsidiary, Interscope Records, withdraw this record. It has no place in our society.
Why? I mean, some would say because Tupac would release songs that served as social commentary. He was trying to enact change. One song is titled White Man's World. Notable lyrics read, "One thing they ever did wrong was being born black in this white man's world. Being born with less
Aren't most people's grandparents?
only adds to the stress. Proud to be black, but why we act like we don't love ourselves. Don't look around, check yourself. Know what it means to be black, whether a man or girl. We're still struggling in this white man's world. We must fight for the countless political prisoners who are locked up falsely by the white man. He names prominent activists who fought for black rights. Government did not like this song. For a long time, Tupac was actually on the FBI watch list.
Because they were
really hard to
racist.
summarize who Tupac was, and obviously nobody is defined by their career, but Tupac is different. He had a lot of intense views, and I say intense to highlight that it was intense for him. It was not smooth sailing for him to say these things, because they might be considered normal right now. But the things that he was saying like 20 years ago, back then, he's making people uncomfortable. He's making the FBI uncomfortable.
Oh, my hip!
So all that's to say, he's very ahead of his time. He's saying things like, I would have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world. In an interview, he once said, this world is such a world, and when I say world, I mean it. I don't mean it in an ideal sense. I mean it every day, and every little thing you do. It's such a gimme, 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 everybody back up. You get taught that from school. Every business, you want to be successful? Gimme, 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 push, push, step, step, crush, crush. That's all it is. Nobody ever stops. There's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting the lotto for $36 million, and then we got people starving on the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. I mean, that is stupid. There is no way. There's no way that these people should own planes when there's people that don't have houses. I think that if they earned it, that's good. I think that they deserve it. But even if they still own it, they still owe it. He's known for being very, very vocal about the state of the world and what it means to be black and successful, but still feel indebted to the communities that you started from.
I don't fit in. That's hell. It's hell when you can't be around your peers. All my life I grew up around black people, poor people, but I can't live around poor people now because they'll rob me. And why would they rob me? Because they're starving, because there's no money here. But they're telling me, now that I made a little money, I have to move here. So it's not like no one's ever trying to deal with this section. They're just moving away from it. And we got more stars coming from together, but they're gonna all move this way. All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. I don't want to be another I don't want to be 50 years old at a BET We Shall Overcome Achievement Awards. You know what I'm saying? Not me.
Wait, he mentioned 50-year-old BET award?
Yeah, exactly what Diddy received.
Whoa.
To the point where Tupac had a lot of people who did not like the way and the things that he spoke about. They said, yeah, we would rather him not speak, like the vice president at the time. And he would say a lot of interesting things that I think ring true today. He would say things like, the government is the mob. Like, that's the mob. I want to read the books that Clinton is reading because he does the same shit that we do, that I do, but he doesn't get in trouble for it. He says, I think this country still runs on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. Even the correctional officers, which, side note, Tupac, he comes from like a line of activists. His mother was a prominent activist. She was part of the Panther 21, part of the larger Black Panther Party. Tupac was speaking at Black Panther Party rallies since he was 17. He's also had quite a notable personal life as well. I think a lot of younger people might know this part of him more than the activist part of him, which is sad, but you get it. He's been romantically linked with Jada Pinkett Smith. I believe they've known each other since high school days. I don't know if they dated per se, but they were really close. Jada Pinkett Smith liked to call them soulmates, and it was a whole thing. Wow. By the time that they were ready to date,
oh god, they were racist. My hip popped out. Like, it actually hurt.
Because he's Tupac, and he's just the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tupac was also linked to have dated Madonna briefly. The two of them kept it a secret. It was recently in the news because one of the breakup letters that he had written her before his passing, it went to auction for over $100,000, and it was this whole ordeal. Madonna tried to stop it. She's like, that's my private life. That's my romantic life. Why is that letter going up for auction? Who okayed this? Turns out her former personal assistant had gotten rid of a bunch of her stuff. This was included in that stuff. The judge allowed the auction to go forward.
The assistant was selling her love letter?
I don't know if they were selling or if they had just gotten rid of some clutter in the house and thought that this was clutter. But it seems a little nefarious. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Now, side note, in an interview from jail, Tupac had nothing but amazing things to say about Madonna. He did some not so nice things to her, said some not so nice things to her because he felt like he was a big Black Panther type of guy and she's white. Even though she's shown him nothing but love, he never felt like he could date a white woman. And he said that he felt really, really bad because once he went to jail, he called her. She was the only one of that level, of that stature, that was willing to help him. Which, shortly after prison, he would be the one to say, "My mama always used to tell me, if you can't find something to live for, then you best find something to die for." And he would die shortly after prison at 25 years old. There have been allegations throughout the years to keep this theory, conspiracy theory, that he's still alive, if you will. People were reporting from all over the world. I saw him in New Mexico. I saw him in South Africa. And then Tupac's former bodyguard states, "I know the truth. The truth is, Tupac is alive and has escaped to Cuba." He states that Tupac has been smuggled into Cuba with the help of Fidel Castro himself. Which, side note, this is not a random connection. Tupac's aunt is a political activist that is living in Cuba right now as an American fugitive. So he does have connections. He says, "I have definitive proof. As his former bodyguard, I helped him fake his death. He's alive, he's in Cuba, and I'm gonna show you that proof in a few days." I mean, this feels like the real deal. Surely, this is like his former security detail. This is not some random person on the internet that's like, "I saw Tupac when I was vacationing." But right before he's gonna release the evidence, he dies.
What?
He dies.
How?
Crazy.
And then a year later, he comes back from the dead and releases a YouTube video. He says, "My name's Michael Neese. I faked my death on the 18th of December. I'm here today, back from the dead, to show why and how I faked my death. I'm gonna put the record straight. I confess I faked my death and I feel quite ashamed about it, but it had to be done, and I'm here to explain the reasons why." He argues that he had to fake his own death because he had to prove that he has the capabilities to help Tupac fake his death.
What in the world?
Yeah, he alleges that he has audio and video of Fidel Castro confirming that he sanctioned Tupac's move to Cuba. But the evidence has still yet to be publicly presented. People are skeptical about his claims now, but it has fueled the conspiracy that Tupac is still alive and well. And there's so many things to this theory. Yes, there's the reported sightings in New Jersey, Boston, Wall Street, LA, but there's also, in his posthumous album that he did under Machiavelli, the lead single is called Hail Mary, which shows Tupac quite literally rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Now, the explanation here is he has all these unreleased music videos, these unreleased records that are now slowly getting released, but people thought it was weird. He's talking about rising from the earth to murder all of his enemies. Also, the album Machiavelli is a play on the word Machiavelli, the political philosopher. Apparently, he studied him extensively while he was in prison, and he was particularly a fan of the book The Prince, which some people have interpreted one of the lessons in there, one of the strategies for general principles of deception by Machiavelli, to be faking your own death to control and fool your enemies. Some people went as far to rearrange the letters in Machiavelli because he could have spelled it differently for copyright reasons, because Machiavelli and Machiavelli are spelled differently. But also, what if it's an anagram for am, alive, K? What does K mean? K is a friend of his named Casanova the Dawn, which he might want to reassure that he's alive.
Why was he in prison?
Oh, we'll get there. It's a very complicated issue. Side note, he actually releases a lot more music posthumously than he did when he was alive. And in one of the songs you hear the lyrics, "Expect me like you expect Jesus to come back. I'm coming." People thought it was strange. Then in another song he sings, "I heard the rumors I died, murdered in cold blood, dramatized. Pictures of me in my final state. You know my mama cried, but that was fiction. Some coward got the story twisted." Furthermore, the way the unreleased songs, when they were released, they always sounded with the times. They always sounded modern, if you will. Now, some argue that's because the way they cut and pieced together, remastered the song to be with the times, but still.
But why would he be?
She's just explaining them
Because it's not just the rap
in relation to
that
P. Diddy.
was, missing Tupac. He was on the FBI watch list for being a political activist. And then it all comes full circle in 2024, when a book gets published alleging to be Kim Porter's memoir that we talked about in the previous episode, about the horrors that she allegedly faced being Diddy's longtime girlfriend before she died. This supposed memoir is published on Amazon under the name Jamal T. Millwood, which is one of the many names that people believe Tupac is living under as his alias because he's still alive, is the theory. There are a few things that you should never do during a bail hearing. One of them is probably lashing out at the prosecutors. It's probably advantageous to not point at the prosecution team and say, these two dudes right here, they're not only ugly on the outside, they're ugly on the inside too. September 2023, a man named Dwayne Keefe D, that's his nickname, Davis, gets arrested for the murder of Tupac. He's part of the Compton Crips. Evidently, he likes to call himself the Compton Street Legend. That's also the title of his memoir.
You say last year?
Last year, like decades later.
This guy got arrested for murder of Tupac.
Yes, for killing Tupac. Decades later, he gets arrested and he's pointing at the prosecution team, calling them ugly.
They're not only ugly on the outside, but they ugly on the inside too.
You're like, what does this have to do with anything, right? Well, Dwayne Keefe D gets arrested, and just like the case in episode 1 of Jonathan Odie, after his arrest, he starts saying some very interesting things. He starts singing to the authorities, and honestly, he had been singing to the public, to the documentaries, in his own memoir for years, that perhaps a certain someone had put a hit out on Tupac, worth 7 figures, $1 million. Kill Tupac, you get $1 million. Now you do the math. What kind of person has that kind of money to take down another person? The police don't have to guess, because Keefe D tells them Sean Diddy Combs.
He says Sean Diddy hired him?
Yeah.
Paid him $1 million to kill Tupac?
Well, that's the thing. He killed Tupac. Well, he wasn't the guy that pulled the trigger, but they did it. They killed Tupac, and Diddy still didn't pay him. And he's very upset about that.
Rude.
He says that he still, to this day, never received payment, and Diddy owes him big time. Now, this is very intriguing because this was just last year. He was arrested before all the allegations came forward about Diddy. Tupac was killed back in 1996.
Yeah.
Is there
I
any
was a wee baby.
supposed evidence linking Diddy to their murder? According to a new lawsuit filed October 15th, 2024, a few weeks ago. I don't know when you guys are seeing this. Ashley Parham, she's going public with her name, and Ashley said that she was sitting at a bar when this guy next to her named Shane calls Diddy on FaceTime. He FaceTimes Diddy. She said this was back in 2018. Now, this happened, according to her lawsuit, in 2018, but she is just now filing the lawsuit along with all the other victims.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
And this is related to
Tupac.
Tupac.
Yes.
Okay.
He FaceTimes Diddy, and this is like around the height of the MGK and Eminem diss track, but I digress. The court docs are publicly available online. I'm telling you what she alleges in her document, but again, do your own research before you form an opinion. Everyone is innocent till proven guilty in the court of law. People have unfortunately lied before on court documents. I'm not saying that she's lying, but I'm also saying don't take it from me. Like, we have to see how it plays out in the court of law, legally speaking. The document alleges Ashley is sitting at the bar with Shane. Shane is trying to brag. He's trying to get those brownie points for FaceTiming Diddy, the Sean Combs. It's kind of icky, you know, the way he's allegedly trying to impress people by having a famous friend. Let's just say Ashley is not impressed. The initial ick of like, ugh, you're doing this right now? Calling your famous friend? But also, it's Diddy. Ashley states out loud that she's not impressed, especially because she always believed Diddy had something to do with Tupac's murder. Because there were rumors back then.
Right. And this Sean guy is just a random friend?
Shane.
Shane. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Random guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Diddy's still on the FaceTime, mind you, and he makes a passing remark that Ashley's gonna pay for that comment. He hears her say, oh, I never really liked Diddy because I always thought Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder. And he's like, you're gonna pay for that. Which, okay, I mean, how? The next month, Ashley gets a call from Shane, the guy from the bar. And he explains that he has cancer. Could you please come over because I'm having a hard time opening my medications. I'm in this weakened physical state. And yeah, she goes over because who's gonna say no to that?
Me.
She goes over, she opens his medications, helps him, and the two of them turn on a movie when out of nowhere, the main door to the apartment slams open, and allegedly, in comes Diddy, his bodyguard, and his chief of staff, the woman that has been compared to Ghislaine Maxwell in lawsuits and by netizens. The way Diddy walked in, as described in the lawsuit, was like ready to party. But it just feels maniacal because nobody's trying to party with him. He allegedly gets into Ashley's face and starts taunting her. Oh, you never thought you were actually gonna see me, did you? In that manner is how it's described. But she still has to pay for what she said about Tupac during the FaceTime, doesn't she? Diddy allegedly grabs the knife, puts it up to Ashley's face, and threatens to give her a glass glow smile. Retaliation for her for what she said about Tupac. She states that the chief of staff allegedly tells Diddy not to because then they can't sell her. She threatens her, the chief of staff, the AKA second Ghislaine Maxwell, that they could easily just ship her off anywhere into the world and they would never see her again. Her family would never see her. Nobody would ever know.
That's crazy. So this is a trap from the beginning?
Yes. So the call from Shane is allegedly, according to the lawsuit, a trap.
What? She's not dating this guy either.
No.
She's just being nice to help him.
It seems like maybe they are forming like an acquaintanceship.
Wow.
She alleges that Diddy puts the knife down, takes off all her clothes, and starts squirting this oil liquid that he just takes out of his large fanny pack all over her. This is the very strange part, but allegedly Diddy and his chief of staff spend a bit of time trying to insert an IUD into Ashley, which if you know, an IUD is like a copper metal T-shaped device that you stick into your cervix so that you don't get pregnant. Getting an IUD from a doctor is probably one of the most painful experiences that some people have ever had, to the point where there are conversations about why are there no anesthetics as an option for patients. I mean, it has to go into the uterus. Some parents have stated it's worse than childbirth. One person said, "My soul left my body. I saw a white flash of light." I'm not even being dramatic. It was the most painful thing ever. And these people are getting it done at medical facilities. And these people allegedly trying to stick an IUD into her have presumably no medical experience. Eventually, they stop. The chief of staff, along with another one of the entourage, they leave. But there's still two other of Diddy's entourage there. So it's Shane, Diddy, and two of Diddy's entourage. 4 guys there that she had never met other than Shane. She's naked, she's terrified, and allegedly Diddy grabs a TV remote from nearby and violently essays her with it. While he's doing that, he's allegedly scathingly telling her that her life is in his hands. He could do whatever he wants to her. He could take her so that she's never seen again. The lawsuit alleges that she was already in pain from the IUD assault when Diddy throws her over onto her stomach and allegedly instructs Shane. Again, these are all allegations you can find online. I wasn't there to tell you definitively if this is how it happened and if this happened. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but these are quite specific allegations. Now, Ashley states in the lawsuit that Diddy tells Shane to put a pillow over her head. He's sick of her hearing her crying. The next instruction is Diddy tells Shane to allegedly essay Ashley anally. She states it was gang essay. First Shane, then Diddy, then John Doe 2, and John Doe 1. She doesn't even know the names of these people that were gang essaying her. John Doe 1, before he even essays her, she said that he grabbed a bunch of baby oil, gets it all over her, and gets on top of her to use her like some sort of, quote, slip and slide. But due to how big his allegedly enormous stature was, the wind gets knocked out of Ashley. And she noticed the whole time Diddy was recording the assault while self-pleasuring. She also notices someone's phone had fallen off near the bed. She tries to reach for it to call for help, but the massive amounts of baby oil everywhere, it slips out of her hands. To which the lawsuit alleges Diddy found this quite hilarious. He also kept commenting that he owned her now. Ashley, in her attempt to leave, somehow ends up in the backyard where they're all smoking. So after they're done, they just go to the backyard allegedly and smoke like nothing happened. Now, at this point, again, allegations, Diddy asks her in a very strange, probably even more terrifyingly friendly way, "Why haven't we partied together before? You're so much fun. I haven't had ass that tight in a while." One of the guy allegedly laughs and states, "Yeah, because you only have anal with men." Which everyone laughs, but Ashley, she does not entertain them. She tells them this was not partying, this was rape. Diddy allegedly did not like that. He offers her money and tries to convince her that she's a worker and that this was consensual. Ashley allegedly loses it, telling him that she's not a worker and she's going to the police. He threatens her that her whole family is going to be harmed if she does anything like that. She states that at this point, Diddy calls someone, and that person picks up a FaceTime, and they're outside of Ashley's sister's home. And then he allegedly does the most bizarre thing. He calls his own mom, Janice Combs, who allegedly starts yelling at Ashley that she's just like a twerker saying all these crazy things. She better not go to the police and hurt her son. But the craziest part is, a whole fight breaks out. One of the Entourage essayers did not hear the comments that she had made about Tupac. And when she brought that up again, he pulls a gun out and points it at Diddy, allegedly. Because he's like, you killed Tupac?
Wait, she mentioned that right now in that?
Yes.
And then one of the guys just pulled a gun out on Diddy.
Yes. And Ashley alleges that she took the knife that she had been hiding to defend herself. Everyone starts running. A neighbor comes out to investigate. Shots are fired into the fence. Ashley grazes Diddy in the stomach with a knife. More shots are fired. Ashley and a neighbor are taking cover behind a car. They make it to shelter in another neighbor's house where they state they called the police. Ashley alleges that the sheriff came, but after taking her
Look,
statement,
Piglet's almost done.
They didn't take her to the hospital. They didn't even offer to help her to get her clothes or phone from Shane's residence. Eventually, Ashley goes home, unsure of what to do. She did spend the night at Shane's, which is a lot of thing that netizens have been pointing out. Like, if you were that scared, why did you stay? But of course, that's like a crazy question to ask, right? Now, eventually, Ashley goes home. She's unsure of what to do.
Also, I don't know how, but I lost
in regards to this
2 pages of my pattern.
She calls her primary care doctor, asking
Like,
for an HIV and STD test.
my physical
She
one?
didn't think anyone would believe her if she called the police because they already called the police according to her allegations and they did nothing. Side note, I do see some netizens calling this story so intense that it almost feels over the top, right? But other netizens have been pointing to Lil Rod, which we covered his lawsuit in the last episode. He was a producer that worked with Sean Diddy Combs for his 2023 album, the Love album. And he talks about how
Oh, you didn't see the
can make things go away because he has lots of connections to law enforcement. For example, we're going to talk about this in the next episode, but there was at one point in the recording studio, Diddy, Justin, and another guy allegedly, according to Little Rod, get into a fight. Diddy, Justin, and the other guy go to the restroom.
God, do your chores.
Justin Combs, his son.
Oh.
Yeah, Diddy's son. They go into a restroom, shots get fired, and the guy ends up shot in the stomach. Now, this actually did happen, but Diddy and Justin allegedly told everyone, hey, just tell everyone we were on the other side of the studio and we weren't there. We don't know who shot him. And they never got investigated for it. And Lil Rod is alleging that it's because his head of security has a lot of law enforcement connections. A lot. Who knows? I'm not saying those two things are related. I'm just saying these are what netizens are bringing up when people are saying, I don't know, this lawsuit sounds really over the top, right? And it's also so oddly specific that a lot of netizens are like, I mean, how do you make up such oddly specific things?
Yeah.
You know? But again, I don't know. I wasn't there. She states in the lawsuit she didn't call the police again because she already told the police, and now what? She just wants to get tested. And the crazy thing is she's just terrified. Her family is in danger. So days after the assault, she sees Shane, the guy that called her over, set her up, the guy from the bar, driving around in a new car. She believes that he got paid for that.
Wow. Is her identity out with the lawsuit?
She stated that she didn't want to hide her identity, which a lot of victims are hiding their identity, and I think it's totally understandable, right? But I think she just really wants people to see that she's, definitely a lot of netizens are saying it adds more water to her claims.
More credibility, yes.
It's not until a few weeks later that Ashley presumably feels brave enough to go somewhere about it. She goes and does an essay kit at the hospital, ultrasound, x-rays. She lost a substantial amount of weight in the past few weeks because of the trauma. The police are contacted once more at the hospital, but this time she doesn't name Diddy because she's scared. That's the part that makes her sound crazy. Like, oh, sure, yeah, an A-list billionaire did that to you? Sure. She names Shane. She says there's 2 other guys. She doesn't know their names. And she thinks, in the lawsuit it's stated, she believes that the footage is likely somewhere on body cam footage for both police incidents. The day that it allegedly occurred and the day at the hospital. Even the day of the incident, it must be somewhere, right? Now, the next month, May 2018, Ashley says that she seeks assistance from therapists. She tries to have her therapy appointments covered by victim compensation funds, but then she's told that there's no law enforcement agency with an active investigation into her report, meaning she can't get free therapy. Because there's no active investigation, she's not a victim, so she's like, wait, what? This is confusing. The lawsuit states, quote, Ashley asked police for a copy of her report from the Walnut Creek Police Department on July 19th, 2018.
I mean, you've watched me make this blanket.
Provided a letter from the police department stating that it was, quote, unable to furnish this information as it is confidential and not subject to public release. But she's not public. She's the victim in this case. But they allegedly refuse her a copy of her own police report where she's the victim.
You can do that? I thought FOIA, even for publics.
There's a few legal barriers. So they're saying that this is strictly confidential. So
Did you see where I'm at so far?
Get signed off by all the parties involved to get this receipt, you know, which has happened before in cases. The Contra Costa County Sheriff did make a statement that reads, a report was taken March 23rd, 2018. We take these cases seriously and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined that the claims were unfounded. So they're just saying like, yeah, we did take reports, but they're not real. Like the claims were unfounded. Wow. Now, just to reiterate, a civil lawsuit does not mean that this is
my knee.
And that Diddy will be found guilty in the court system. Some netizens state
I was thinking. So I saw
from what I could see,
well, I haven't done a bit on stream in a while, but I was thinking for a border. I've seen people do, you basically make strips but you make them for both sides. So I was thinking if I do like a ribbing and on this side I use the pink, and then on the pink side I use the yellow, and then you get them onto, you sew them on, and then all your ends are in there. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know how to explain it.
AKA Diddy, was going to host a fundraiser for AIDS at the New York City College, where you would just pay $20 to watch celebrities play basketball. Boys to Men, Run DMC, Jodeci, Heavy D, Big Daddy Kane. It was rumored that Mike Tyson was going to be there. This is a huge event. Nearly
like
5,000
you
people show up to the gym.
you sew it on to the respective side, and then you put all the ends inside that, and you sandwich it.
Crowd manages to break through the exterior doors, but there's another set of doors that you have to get through to get into the gymnasium. They break through the first exterior doors, and the crowd surges so much that they bend a lamppost near that door. And they just want to get in. They've been waiting here all day. What do you mean? Some of us have tickets. Some of us were told that you're still selling like half the tickets at the door. Why have we been standing standstill in the same spot in the line for like
that'll depend on if I can, if depending on how much yarn I have of each color left over.
Set of doors to get into the gymnasium. Once they get down, those doors are locked. So you have a bunch of people squishing into this downward stairwell, trying to push up against these doors that are locked. These are the doors that lead into the gymnasium. And there's people behind the stairwell trying to push into the stairwell because they don't know that the door is locked. Not only that, even if someone realizes what's going on and they walk over to the doors and they unlock the doors,
no,
you're not gonna have people
I have not.
because the doors have to be
Biggest mess.
into the group of people piled. It opens into the stairwell. It does not open into the gymnasium. It opens into the stairwell. But there's no room in the stairwell right now. Nobody at the top knows that. They're all pushing into each other. One person said, everyone was so close together, you felt you could not breathe because of the weight of people pressing on your back. Everyone's screaming at each other, get back, get back. People are not taking it seriously. And even the ones that are, they can't move back because people are pushing into them. Finally, after 15 minutes, the doors to the gym almost basically pop off. Everyone starts spilling into the gym. The people who had been standing near the doors that have been getting squashed the most, now they're practically getting trampled on by the people behind them trying to get into the gym because they also can't breathe. In that moment, someone comes onto the intercom and tells them, the game is canceled because 3 people have died. You gotta leave.
Inside a gym, are there people? A lot of people?
I would say that they alleged that it was at around 40% capacity at that point already.
Oh, inside the gym is still empty at this point.
Yes, but they couldn't let people in because how do you stop them from coming in, and then they're going to reach over capacity. So they never really unlocked those doors. They just waited till they popped off. Which then they come on the intercom and say, hey guys, 3 people died, y'all need to go home, which ensues another round of pure panic because what do you mean 3 people died? How did they die? Some people know about this stairwell, some people don't. One person said people started running, people are pushing each other down, people on the bottom were getting trampled, people jumped off the bleachers and were crushing each other. People are trying to leave through the same door that people had just been crushed in minutes ago, trying to go up the stairs now to leave.
You could actually hear when somebody died because you would hear and then you wouldn't hear anymore.
When the medics finally arrive, they said it was a state of chaos. One medic says, we had to break through the crowd when we reached downstairs. It's like an avalanche of people just trampling on top of each other. It was like a plane crash without a plane. I had a guy with a broken neck and I had to haul him over to the wall to avoid both of us being trampled on. One person at the event said, at one point there was a rush inside, and that's when you just saw bodies dropping. People were getting trampled. We were just chest to chest for hours. We could move a few steps an hour, that's it. Another woman at the event stated that before she left for the concert, she had put a tangerine in her pocket of her leather jacket. She had plans to eat it before, but she never got that chance. She said, when we finally got out of there, I reached into my pocket and there was nothing left but the skin of the tangerine. It stained my lovely jacket, and I kept that jacket as a reminder for years. 9 people died, and 29 people were injured that night. The 9 people that passed, according to the chief medical examiner at the time, the victims were 15 to 28 years old and had died from being asphyxiated. They were, quote, squeezed from the front to the back. There was no criminal trial, but Diddy was later asked to explain himself. And he states he knew something was wrong when, quote, as it started getting dark, we had to shut the doors because the line got so disorganized out in the front. He states that eventually the police came in through the back door, and he was telling them, look, there's way too many people out there, we need help. But according to Diddy, the police just leave. They don't come back until an hour later, which is almost too late. Everybody's piled in the stairwell trying to get in. He says it was just an impossible situation. There was no way for them to be allowed in. There was already 40% capacity inside the gym. And yeah, you could let in a few more people, but it was chaos.
Not
like who got caught out
crowd surges? No, it actually makes me very sad.
We just didn't want to take the chances by opening the doors back up. But people start pushing from the outside and the doors just popped, snapped off the hinges, and people just start pouring in.
But like, whatever city that molasses flood happened in,
people started piling up on top of each other.
Yeah.
Glass started breaking and the doors, and people were getting scared and running, just pushing, and it was pressure. Then all of a sudden, I'm on the other side of the door, pulling people through into the gym so that we could open some of the other doors. But even as we started pulling people in, more people were pushing through. We started screaming, get back, to back up. And like a few minutes later, we saw people passing out because the heat. We started seeing some scary shit. People's eyes were going back in their heads, and I'm thinking people could die out here. A big kid had gotten stuck in the door, and we couldn't pull him through, or anybody else. The cops were being called, but nobody was coming, and I could just feel it. I was thinking, some of these people were dying or dead. People had started regurgitating. Nobody was trying to mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, so I started, and other people started. One guy that I knew, we were trying to revive him for like 45 minutes. He was throwing up in my mouth, but I didn't care. We were like, yo, man, you gotta live. We were pumping his chest and breathing into him, and I'm seeing my girlfriend bugging out because her best friend's there not breathing, and I'm trying to give her mouth to mouth, and I started to feel this feeling in the breath I'm getting back, that people were dead. I could feel the death going into me.
What? So he's the organizer of this event.
And he hired a bunch of associates who had no expertise. So there's a lot of people at fault. Diddy was definitely one of them. According to a judge, but the college was one of them for not having adequate safety measures. The police were also blamed for not having enough police detail at an event like this. But Diddy was also blamed for the fact that he wanted the biggest event in town, is what a lot of people believe. The ego got the better of him. He hired a bunch of people who have never, ever organized an event of this size, of this caliber, with all these names. Like, imagine you're like, I'm gonna go see all the top A-list celebrities at a celebrity basketball game for $20 at my local college. Think about that.
Yeah.
He says, later I went home and I just kept
I
saying to
wanna
myself,
eventually get like a trail cam or something to like stick in my backyard. Cause I swear sometimes these deer do the craziest shit.
flyer and saw my name and Heavy D's name and started blaming everybody. People saying whoever threw the event must have f***ed up. Press started drawing conclusions before the actual investigation. Which a few witnesses state, really now, did he? Because they don't recall any of that. One woman who thankfully made it out alive, she said she actually saw Diddy that night. She alleges he walked right past me after there was that big rush inside the gym. He didn't seem concerned about what was going on. He just wanted to get his stuff and get out of there. I never got the sense of remorse or accountability. Just like, let me get my stuff and get out.
Wait, what? How is he walking if there's so many people?
So it's mainly people stuck in that stairwell. Just stuck. They can't, even with the doors, it's hard to pull them out. Because the doors were like popping out. They weren't all the way open.
Okay, so everyone's jammed in this little stairwell, and he's like outside and just walking by.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna go home.
I'm
Allegedly.
gonna leave here.
Yeah,
now.
I'm gonna leave. In fact, later in a 1993 cover for Vibe titled Puff Daddy, This Is Not a Puff Piece, and I was just so confused, I didn't even know if this was real. It's real. He says, it wasn't the tickets that oversold, like people said. It wasn't the fire department's fault or the cops. It was just that overall, the Black community, there's a lack of self-love. The majority of these kids weren't necessarily going to put themselves in a situation they get hurt, but when it comes to loving their neighbors and moving back, they couldn't love their neighbors because they didn't love themselves.
No way.
Which is absolutely one of the most unhinged ways I've ever heard someone describe a literal stampede, a literal surge, a crowd surge. That's not how physics works. And also, what the are you saying?
When was the stampede happen? Do you remember what year was it?
Oh.
You said 33 years ago?
Yeah, like early 90s.
I love that she films this with her husband, because sometimes I'm like, I wonder. And he always asks the question I'm thinking.
That I don't know if I can have an opinion about, but I'm going to tell you exactly what was said online and like the discourse that's circulating. So later it said that Diddy was all about uplifting the Black community. That's what he spoke heavily about, especially in 2023 when he changed his name to Brother Love. He was all about the Black community. And people that knew him, some sources, like a former bodyguard, allege he's just taken the cards out of Tupac. Like, he wants to be Tupac. Tupac was all about uplifting Black people, but also at the same time, it's like, this is what Diddy said 33 years ago? So I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he says things that he thinks people will like to hear.
Yeah.
The judge ruled that Diddy was partly responsible. He will not be facing criminal charges, but could be, in fact, held liable in damages in a civil court. Which, side note, he just settled the last lawsuit pertaining to this matter in 2000. So we don't know because most of them were undisclosed settlements, but he's been paying settlements throughout the years. The judge said, it does not take an Einstein to know that young people attending a rap concert camouflaged as a celebrity basketball game who have paid as much as $20 a ticket would not be very happy and easy to control if they were not allowed in, if they were unable to gain admission. A lot of people believe that it's just Diddy's inflated ego happening all over again. Now, side note, remember how this is allegedly an AIDS fundraiser? They promoted the event stating that it was going to help AIDS educational outreach program.
Yeah.
It's a questionable organization that is not a registered charity and is not known amongst anti-AIDS groups. So, and anti-AIDS groups meaning like they're trying to help, yes. Yeah. Many attorneys representing the victim said, there was ample time to suspend the event, shut it down to prevent a tragedy. That decision was not made. Another victim's mother said all they really wanted from Diddy, because he was young at that point, was an apology. That's it. He allegedly resisted all accountability. The mother says, I want Sean to step up to the plate and say, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. That's all she wanted. Now, to be fair, he does offer an apology. You can be the judge of how remorseful he sounds. He says, I'm sorry for being the promoter of the event. I just pray for the families and pray for the children who lost their lives every day. You know, it's a tragic event and my heart goes out to the families. The families did not find him to be truthful. They said, I feel like he's just passing the blame instead of accepting responsibility. He's trying to cover for himself. He also states, City College is something I deal with every day of my life, but the things that I deal with can in no way measure up to the pain that the families deal with. One journalist who worked on the coverage of the college incident, they remembered thinking, Puffy? Who the hell is Puffy? Who's this guy named Puffy Daddy? Puff Daddy? The event coordinator? He's a hip-hop producer? That's all they know about him so far, the journalists. They remember thinking, man, this Puffy guy can't have much of a future after this, huh?
Oh, are you saying like he wasn't that big back then?
Yeah, so all the celebrities like Heavy D, Run DMC, they were huge. But Puffy, like I said, he's not really a musician. He's like a producer. He's just a behind-the-scenes guy.
Oh.
And it says organized by Puff Daddy. So the reporters are like, who the hell is Puff Daddy? Well, Puff Daddy's not going to have a future in this industry anymore. 2 years later, Puff Daddy would start his own record label, Bad Boy Records. Within 4 years of opening, the label sold nearly $100 million worth of records. People said there's just something about
the name sounds familiar.
that whatever he's doing or wherever he is, that's where you want to be.
Is that the guy from
He is a master
that 70s show?
I mean, that is, you have to give him that. Like, just to give you a quick example, he was working on promoting two of his artists, Big, B-I-G, and Mac. But he has to give a bunch of journalists their music to sample because this was before streaming. So he has to give them CDs, mixtapes. He has to give them photos if they want to reprint him in magazines. He has to provide original copies of photos. So he created this Big Mac sampler. It looked like the McDonald's Big Mac packaging. And he would put in all their mixtapes and he would call it the Big Mac.
It's like a PR package.
Yes, before PR packages really existed.
So he was very creative in
Very
that.
creative. Someone who worked really closely with him once said, Puff was my young warrior. I could send him into the jungle and he would bring back the lion's head every single time. The company sold over 500 million records, produced over 38 platinum albums, and won multiple Grammy Awards. That is Bad Boy Records. And it would be the start of the alleged boiled egg test.
What?
Some of my favorite wholesome videos to watch online are the ones where people who speak multiple languages but don't look like it will randomly break out into full sentences, surprising everyone around them. And almost always the unsuspecting native speakers in the videos are shocked, but also happy, elated even, because learning a language is so much more than just communicating. It shows that there's a deep interest in the person's culture and heritage. I've been learning Chinese from my husband's side of the family.
Someone on YouTube had to have talked about it. Hold on, I'm gonna Google him so I can see what he looks like.
Her native language using Rosetta Stone. She just started practicing and is hoping to surprise her Nana by holding a full conversation in French by Christmas time. With Rosetta Stone, this is a fun little holiday gift that you can give as well. Whether you're surprising a loved one with your own abilities or gifting a membership, brushing up on a past language, or even starting from scratch, Rosetta Stone is the most...
Yo, he's a fucking baby.
...available on desktop or as an app. It truly immerses you in the language that you want to learn, but most importantly, Rosetta Stone encourages fast language learning through an intuitive process designed for long-term retention. The built-in True Accent feature gives you feedback on your pronunciation, which is basically a personal trainer for your accent. Because for 30 years, Rosetta Stone has been the most trusted language learning platform with millions of users worldwide. And don't worry, if French is not your thing, they have 25 different languages to choose from, such as Korean, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic. Not that you have to choose though, because with Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership, you get access to all 25 language courses for the rest of your life. A lifetime supply of unlimited access.
I do love seeing people in their downfalls. It's awesome.
In life. Don't put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. Rotten Mango listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/rotten. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem for 50% off at rosettastone.com/rotten today.
Ew.
In a recent interview with Chris Cuomo,
I would not be able to even look at an OnlyFans of someone who looked like they were 13.
They used to take a raw boiled egg, had the guys pull their pants down at the studio, had them bend over, and then stick it up their bottoms. If the eggs break, that means they're not ready. They said they didn't put in enough work because this is Hollywood.
What?
That means they're still not loose enough in the back door. And that means they didn't put in enough work in Hollywood because the back door needs to be used. Yeah, this is a crazy allegation.
Yeah.
But you have to take the whole story with a grain of salt because, first of all, the claims, like I said, are allegations. They're unverified. Additionally, it's being said by a man named Suge Knight, Diddy's longtime rival and competitor, the founder of Death Row Records in California. Well, he's one of the founders. Death Row Records at its prime was making over $100 million per year. Bad Boy Records, we don't know exact numbers, but they're doing $100 million in record sales for 4 years. Death Row Records, $100 million per year.
Are they still around or no?
No, Snoop Dogg just rebought it because he was signed with Death Row Records. He was one of the most notable artists. So he's trying to revive it, but it did eventually go bankrupt, I believe. They had some of the biggest talent signed onto their label at their prime. They had Dr. Dre, who was a co-founder but also releasing and producing his own music, Snoop Dogg, MC Hammer, Outlaws, and eventually they would go on to sign Tupac while he's in prison. But we'll get there. Tupac was Suge's biggest talent. I mean, not just in terms of size, but in terms of potential. It is well known that Tupac was a poetic genius. He was literally into poetry. He took poetry classes. He would write poetry for Jada Pinkett Smith and then she would retell it on Instagram. It was like a whole thing. Tupac is a different breed. He would rap about his beliefs. One of his most well-known songs, Change, the lyrics read, "I'm tired of being poor, and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a pull the trigger, kill a, he's a hero. Give the crack to the kids, who the hell cares? One less hungry mouth on welfare. First ship them dope and let them deal to brothers. Give them guns, step back and watch them kill each other." He would say in an interview, if the church was taking half the money they were making and gave it back to the communities, we would be all right. If the church take half the buildings they use to praise God and gave it to the motherfuckers who need God, we would be all right. Have you seen some of the churches lately? There's ones that take up a whole block in New York. There's homeless people out here. Why do some of these buildings have gold ceilings? Why does God need gold ceilings to talk to me? Side note, Tupac clarifies he believes in God. He just doesn't agree with some of these organized religions where the heads of the communities hoard the wealth in this tax-free haven and don't give it back to the communities. He says, just because I don't have nothing to pass around, a bucket for people to put money in, doesn't mean that I'm not doing God's work. These underserved kids ain't God's children. I don't see no missionaries coming through here. He says, well, some reverends go to the middle-class areas, get invited to dinners at the White House to pray over the president. Just because he's not doing that doesn't mean he's not doing God's work. He states, I'm not saying that I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee you that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job. It's to spark somebody else watching us. Which, side note, Tupac was a very complicated person. I think some people, when they just hear, oh, he's an activist, he stands for these things, they want him to be this perfect person. But there are songs where he does rap and maybe in some people's opinion, yeah, to a degree, I would say, he does promote violence in some songs, and people don't understand how you can be dual-faceted and come from this very complicated background. And Tupac himself was so self-aware. He says, quote, I'm missing some lessons. You can see the lessons that I'm missing when you talk to me. You can see where I haven't had a father when you talk to me. You can see where I spent a lot of my time in the streets when you talk to me. Because the words that I say aren't the words that come from a mother's mouth or a father's mouth. It's the words that come from a pimp's mouth or a sex worker's mouth or a hustler or a drug dealer. But to me, those were my role models. Which obviously, if you want, you can spin it as, look, this guy is looking up to pimps and drug dealers. But it's so much more of a deeper message. It's a message of like young people in these marginalized communities. That's the only education they get. For a lot of nuanced, complicated, deeply tied to historical reasons, the Black nuclear family unit was ripped apart. Not by Black people, many times intentionally by society to keep them down socioeconomically. But also, what other choice do these young kids have? It's not like the rich areas are just gonna open up their arms. Yes, come to our school. We'll teach you. He's not saying he looked up to pimps because that's what he wants to be. So it's like There are a lot of complicated emotions in his music. Now, if Tupac represents the West Coast, the East Coast equivalent would be Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls, aka Notorious B.I.G. He was born the only child of a single Jamaican mom. He actually got his start freestyling in the streets of Brooklyn. But obviously, that's not making a ton of money, so he did deal drugs on the side. He did go to jail for 9 months on a weapons charge. And when he gets off, he's like, you know what? I don't like prison at all. That was not a good experience. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to make music. He actually gets discovered, if you will, by Diddy. This is when Diddy didn't have his own record label. He's working with Uptown Records, remember?
Before the Bad Boy.
Yes, this is where he meets Kim Porter. Yes, he's working at Uptown Records. All the other executives, they freaking hate him. And Biggie gets signed with Uptown Records. And eventually, he leaves Uptown to go with Bad Boy Records with Diddy. Diddy would say about Biggie, I mean, he just had so much melody in his voice. It was like he was rapping, but it was so catchy. It was almost like he was singing, and he was such a clever poet. The way he put his words together, the way he saw things, he saw things so vivid. If you sat and listened to a Biggie Smalls record in the dark, you would see a whole movie in front of you. And the most amazing thing is, Biggie never wrote down his lyrics. He'd sit and compose them in his head. Even one of his very first singles, it said that he recorded the entire track in one take. To give you context, some professional artists can take 20, sometimes 100, sometimes more, depending on how they're perfecting or improving, but one take is still insane. One person that they stated always does one takes is Bruno Mars. Like, one take is kind of crazy. Now, for the sake of being thorough, Biggie does have a very complicated personal life. Little Kim was also an icon in her own right. She was signed with Bad Boy Records. She was having an affair with Biggie. So Biggie eventually marries a woman named Faith Evans, famous singer, having an affair with Lil' Kim. It has been stated that he was very violent towards her in the relationship. Very violent.
Little Kim?
Yes. And potentially Faith Evans. And potentially any woman that he dated, right? Tupac did serve 9 months in prison for first-degree sexual abuse. He was charged with, which is the more serious charge, but he was acquitted of the more serious charges and just found guilty of sexual abuse, which is not me trying to downplay it. But there is more discourse about Tupac's personal life.
Why is that so?
With Biggie's personal life, it seems like nobody really refutes the idea that he was violent with women. With Tupac's personal life, a lot of people think because of the time and because of how outspoken he was about racial inequalities, and the fact that his parents and his aunt were all and the fact that he was already on the FBI
Well,
list.
now he should be doing a lot of takes to make sure he gets a good song, because he's in debt.
Them away just to taint their image. Now, I'm not saying that that's true in this case. I'm just saying it has happened before during that time and probably even now. So a lot of people have a hard time
who to trust, right?
Yes.
What do we really know? Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it's always believe the victims, right? But I think it just gets really complicated in this case. And again, I don't have that much information about this specific case of SA here, but there's just a lot of discourse and it would be difficult to not include that. A lot of netizens have argued that Tupac was set up for the charge. They state that Tupac was already under FBI surveillance and he was very politically outspoken.
Maintaining your innocence.
Because I'm loud. I didn't shut up. But I didn't think they was going to take it this serious. Me keep talking out. I didn't think it was going to be a matter of life and death.
He also maintained his claim of innocence, and previously he has only spoken highly of women in interviews. And
I was gonna say, isn't this the man who told us to respect our mothers?
how much he was a gentleman. He wrote a lot of songs for his mom. Like, it seems like he grew up with a lot of powerful women in his life. So some people say it just doesn't make sense. Again, I'm not agreeing with them or saying you should agree, but these are what the netizen discourse is. There was alleged evidence that could prove Tupac's innocence, but it was conveniently, quote-unquote, lost by the prosecution, which of course only fueled the theories that he did not commit any sort of abuse. Now, do your own research. I'm just giving you a brief overview. The victim has still been outspoken of how this did happen to her. It's very complicated, it's very messy, and a lot of netizens have...
Look, Lady Gaga and Rosé from Blackpink are working to get this man some money.
Many believe, for sure, Tupac and Biggie, they must hate each other because they're competition. East Coast, West Coast, they hate each other. They were actually friends. In fact, when they first started hanging out, Tupac was a little bit more famous than Biggie. He was further along in his career, but they had both respected each other's musicality, and Tupac is not the one to feel like, I should be the only famous one. He would actually help Biggie out. Biggie would crash on his couch when he was doing shows in LA. He would invite Biggie out to freestyle on stage together, which is a big deal because you're sharing your audience with him, right? And eventually, Tupac would even form a group called Thug Life, which he has tattooed on his stomach. He wanted Biggie to join. Biggie was like, I'm good. But again, they're still friendly about it. Diddy says Biggie loved Tupac to death. Tupac helped Biggie out when we were just getting off the ground. He would come and let us open his shows. A lot of people say Diddy was the third wheel in the relationship. Yeah, people said Diddy was fascinated by Tupac. He was fascinated with Biggie, but to him it seemed like Biggie was more of a money-making machine. This is his biggest artist on the label, and he's going to make him big so he can make money. But with Tupac, the way that it said that he was able to, quote, marry street credibility with mainstream appeal. Like, he's just a very multifaceted person. Like, people would never say, oh, he's not tough. But also he stands and he's very open about his sensitivity, and he even talks about bringing out his feminine side. And so it's like just so multifaceted, and a lot of mainstream audiences liked him, which at this point hip-hop was not really mainstream like it is today. So Diddy is like, I am just fascinated by this man. He would get his team to study Tupac's records, and honestly it seems from insider reports that Diddy wanted to be besties with Tupac. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Tupac was known for wearing Versace shirts. Then Diddy goes and wears Versace shirts, which fine, he's like, some dudes would do that. But beyond that, Gene Deal alleges Diddy would do this bizarre thing where he would try to find all the women that Tupac had been intimate with and try to be intimate with those same women.
That's weird.
Analyzed, if true, this would be a really complex psychological situation. Probably
Well, because it's an active case and it's all alleged. It's all allegations.
There's also something called retroactive jealousy.
And she brings a lot of like what people on the internet think happened along with actual proof, and like if the case is still ongoing, she will be like, these are just theories. I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying it might have happened.
The mother of one of Diddy's children, was actually a girlfriend of Tupac's, allegedly.
That is weird.
And allegedly Kim Porter was a huge fan of Tupac. She actually wore a Tupac shirt on the red carpet with Diddy.
This is after Tupac's passing?
Oh, way after. This was like before her passing, like in the 2010s. Yeah.
That is weird too.
Weird. Yeah. Very strange. Some would say that Diddy was just obsessed with Tupac in every way possible, in a very creepy way, but the feeling was not mutual. In fact, quote, according to an insider, Pac did not have any kind of respect for Puff. To all of them, Puff was just a corny executive. I guess they had this mutual respect for one another until Tupac gets shot 5 times. Tupac is in New York City when he gets a call to come work on a song in a recording studio. When he gets there with his entourage, he's got a whole group of people, he has a bodyguard, he sees people waving to him from the balcony from one of the rooms on top of the building, so he's about to walk into the lobby. He looks up and there's people on the balcony, Bad Boy Records artists. They're like, hey, come, stop by. Tupac gets inside, he's waiting for the elevator to take him up. It's a dead end. You know, it's like a small little studio. The only way out of the building now is through where he came from. But before he can step into the elevator, 2 gunmen approach demanding everyone to get down. Everyone gets down except Tupac. He said that he wasn't even trying to be tough, he just froze. Okay, everybody gets down but him. In fact, he's confused why everybody's getting down, like he's frozen. The gunman keeps screaming at him, give up your jewelry, about $40,000 in jewelry. Tupac, some say he's not having it, some say he was frozen in shock. It's unclear, but they end up shooting him in the groin, then in the hand, twice in the head. The bullet does not penetrate his skull.
And say, but this girl, she actually went to every to the Diddy trial.
Afterwards, because the police show up and the police hate him. He's been very anti-police, and he's a very famous figure. So police and Tupac don't go well.
So those 5 shots, though, are they trying to kill him? Like you say, there's 2 to the head and hand and.
It's unclear. Technically, it was supposed to just be a robbery.
But the shots to the head, that is.
They were also like kicking him. It feels like there was a lot of hatred there.
Right. And they must know who he is too.
Oh yeah. And it was all planned because he arrives, he gets shot.
Right.
It's all planned, right?
And my recollection of the story was I was shooting a video of the second half of Warning. So I saw him saying what's up to me, I'm about to get on the elevator, and he comes out shot.
The shooting was carried out by someone that he is having trouble with, a former friend of his. His under associate decided to come at Tupac. But the problem is, the Bad Boy Records artists were there, and Tupac felt like if something were to happen to Biggie in the West Coast, Tupac would know about it. He would get word. Like if someone is planning on robbing Biggie, Tupac would know. That's how small it is, the world is, this hip-hop world. And they're that big. They're on top of the game, right?
Right.
He's saying, how am I in New York getting robbed, getting shot? Bad Boy is in the same building, and you're telling me not a single one of them knew that this was about to go down?
Right. Like they must have their own security details or just their own members around to make sure they're safe even.
Yes.
So how do you not know there's people like ready to do this in the same building?
On top of that, the guy that actually was involved in the incident, the alleged gunman, he was seen in Notorious B.I.G.'s music videos later. So it's like, not only did you kind of know, but like you probably still hung out with these people afterwards, which is just weird.
Yeah.
Now, some people think that Tupac was being over dramatic and that maybe Biggie didn't know. I will say, I don't know if Biggie knew. Most people say that Biggie didn't know. Most people say that Diddy knew, though. Biggie genuinely liked Tupac, is the vibe that people are saying. But he sees Biggie, and he feels like Biggie is involved. After the shooting, Tupac gets sentenced for the SA charge, which, side note, after the shooting, the two were on weird terms, Tupac and Biggie. Some people would say, no, Biggie ran into the lobby with his gun to try and defend Tupac earlier. Like, it was crazy. Others would allege Biggie knew, but he didn't know what to do. Others confirm, I don't know about Biggie, but Diddy knew. Like, he was nodding, like he knew what was going on. Regardless, after healing from his wounds, I don't think Tupac had a lot of time to confront Biggie or even think about Biggie because his SA trial is going on in New York City. He even leaves the hospital against the advice of doctors to attend court. Ultimately, he does get convicted and is sentenced. Now, this is where it gets very, very messy. And what feels like the very, very soon after Tupac's sentencing, Biggie drops a song called Who Shot Ya? Some notable lyrics include East Coast motherfuckers, bad boy motherfuckers, who shot you? Separate the weak from the obsolete, hard to creep them Brooklyn streets. All that bickering beef, one false move gets Swiss cheesed up. Fucking with B.I.G. it ain't safe, Big Papa smash fools, bash fools, everything around me, 2 Glock 9s. There's another line where he says, you rewind this, bad boys behind this, get high motherfuckers, ready to die motherfuckers, you'll die slow but calm, open your fucking mouth, didn't I tell you, don't fuck with me? Which, like, why the hell would Biggie release that if he had nothing to do with Tupac's shooting and had no bad feelings towards him? According to Gene Deal, Diddy's bodyguard at the time, he believes that wasn't Biggie's choice. He's not the record label owner. He's an artist. He doesn't get a say. He says this song was produced for a previous album and they took it down because it was just way too violent. And Diddy thought, that's the perfect time to release it. It's going to get so much attention, so many plays. This is from Gene Deal's perspective, allegedly, right? It's gonna bring in so much money because it's starting this beef. Of course, I mean, look at what happened with Drake and Kendrick Lamar recently. Beef sells tapes.
Yeah. He's such an opportunist too.
Yes.
Yeah.
This would be the misunderstanding that starts everything. Because Tupac didn't hate Biggie when he went to jail. He just felt like it was weird. He felt like Biggie must have known about it. It was weird, right? Now, Tupac is in prison. He hears from everyone. Biggie just released this track. He admitted that he shot you and was now, like, teasing you while you're in prison. In fact, while he's in prison, Biggie is out there bragging about all of it. These records and all this. It's crazy. This is what Tupac is being told. Naturally, Tupac feels betrayed. And while Tupac is in prison, Biggie takes over the hip-hop world. Now, this is where things get interesting. He's in prison for, like, a year and a half, by the way. Some people think that Biggie had nothing to do with the shooting and, again, had no idea that this song was going to go out, or he kind of greenlit it, not thinking it was going to be a big deal. However, it is not just the artists that are fighting. It's not just Tupac and Biggie that are fighting. Suge Knight, the owner of Death Row Records, that Tupac gets signed to in prison. So he's not signed with Suge Knight yet. He's signed with Interscope Records from earlier that MGK was signed with. Now, Suge wanted someone to compete with Biggie, and it had to be Tupac. He doesn't know anybody else. He's saying that Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, they're so talented, but there's something about, some people just have that musicality. They have that lyricism. It comes to them so naturally. Suge mainly does this because he likes money, let's be real. He likes his business and he wants to take over Bad Boy Records.
11,
He wants
12,
Death Row
13,
to be a
14,
monopoly.
15,
He's
16,
thinking of
17,
starting a
18,
Death
19,
Row East
20,
Coast
21,
to take over
22,
that side.
23,
And he
24,
might have a
25,
vendetta against Diddy
26,
as well.
27,
He
28.
says that he and Diddy were actually very cool with each other. Like, they would pick each other up from the airport when they would visit the other coast, you know? And some people don't like... Okay, I'm gonna break it down. It's a little confusing. Back then, East Coast was the originator of hip-hop, is how they like to claim. I don't know, okay? They state that this is where all the biggest hip-hop artists were coming out of. Now, when there would be talented artists of West Coast, they felt frustrated that they're not getting attention because they're not from the East Coast. And sometimes the East Coast rappers would make fun of the West Coast rappers, like they're just wannabes. So there was always this competition, but they always tried to help each other. Suge would even offer Diddy and his crew protection when they came out to perform on the West Coast. There were a lot of groups of people, perhaps organized groups of people, that would use this music to represent everything that they stood for and what coast they stood for. You get it. So for years, out of the goodness of Suge's heart, he says, which take that as you will, because Suge Knight is in prison for manslaughter right now, so I don't know how much goodness he has in his heart, but he felt that once Diddy and Biggie got big, Diddy wanted to charge Suge Knight for everything, even though he helped him get big. Now, Suge Knight is like, hey, can you come to the West Coast to perform at a show? He's like, oh, I gotta charge an appearance fee. And it's like, what about all the times that I helped you without charging you? Suddenly you wanna act like you're not indebted to me at all? Is the feeling that Suge Knight has. Rightfully so or not, I don't know, but Suge Knight is pissed. He feels like Diddy owes him. To be completely transparent, Suge Knight is also known as a bully in the game. That's how he's described. Some people think that Diddy and Suge are cut from the same cloth. It's like comparing a terminal illness to a different kind of terminal illness. They're both cancers in society. They're both terrifying. Both are ruthless. Both get what they want no matter what. But other netizens argue two key differences. One, Suge Knight never pretends that he didn't do everything for himself. Like, you know who you're getting into bed with when you get into bed with Suge Knight. Whereas Diddy does so much PR to be brother love. And two, from what the public knows, Suge is someone who hurt and exploited people. No question. He was a quote-unquote gangster. But Diddy did all of that, and he's an alleged sexual criminal on top of that. Side note, Suge Knight has been arrested multiple times and charged with domestic violence, so keep that in your mind, but that's just what netizens have been stating. Now, Suge Knight signs Tupac in prison and pays a $1.5 million bail to get him out. That's another part of the conspiracy. People are like, why is his bail so high? Because usually people with these types of charges, he got convicted, he's appealing it, and he could get out on bail while the appeal is being, worked.
Okay, because he's rich, no?
Yeah, some people say that, but he wasn't that rich at the time. Yeah. He pays the bail, which Interscope Records, the massive record company that he was signed with, did not want to because he wasn't mainstream enough for them. They didn't like the risk. Suge Knight pays the bail, and immediately he comes out, signs with Death Row Records, and both of them are ready to take down Bad Boy. And they're very vocal about it. At a music awards, Suge Knight tells the East Coast artists to come to Death Row Records, unless you want your executive to dance in your videos and be in all of the thumbnails of your records. He didn't say the thumbnail part. Most of Biggie's songs on YouTube, if you go right now, they have Diddy on the thumbnail. Like, why does Notorious B.I.G.'s song called Nasty Girl? Why is the thumbnail two women whispering into Diddy's ear?
Biggie's not in there?
No.
Just Diddy?
Yeah.
Is Diddy singing in there?
A lot of the songs that he's in, he's not even singing. He's just like dancing around Biggie.
What?
I mean, he's like a producer, but it's just like he's the ghost of Christmas past. Why are you always there? It feels like, what is the purpose? He's not singing, really. He's not really dancing. Sometimes he'd be in the car driving. Biggie's in the passenger seat rapping, and then all of a sudden Diddy would be like, hell yeah, and that's it. It's weird.
So that's what Suge Knight was saying.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Why are you, like, you're weird. You're like a corny executive is what they're calling him. Like, are you a hallucination? Why are you always there? It's just bizarre. What's the purpose? Diddy would later state that he was at the awards show. He said he was shocked that Suge said that because he thought they were friends. Regardless, the East Coast versus West Coast war, battle, if you will, was ignited. And really, without much of their own say, Tupac and Biggie become the faces of it. Tupac of the West Coast, Biggie of the East Coast. There are further allegations that Suge Knight might have been seeing one of Diddy's ex-girlfriends and the mother of his child, Justin Combs' mom, Misa Hilton. Do you remember from the last episode? Suge Knight was allegedly seeing Misa Hilton, and they have pictures of Suge Knight hanging out with not just Misa Hilton, but Diddy's son, Justin. And they wanted to run magazine ads with that picture and a caption to read, "The East Coast can't even take care of their own." Yeah, so it's getting really dirty really quick. Some state that Suge was actually protecting Misa from Diddy because others allege that Diddy was very violent with Misa. But like I said, Suge seems to be violent with women as well, or he has a record of being violent with women. And others state that Suge was just doing it to get back at Diddy. But after all of this, after Suge Knight publicly insults Bad Boy and Diddy, the next month, Suge Knight's friend, Jake Robles, is shot and killed at a party in Atlanta. Allegedly by Diddy's bodyguard, Anthony Wolf Jones. The one that was also at the Manhattan shooting with Jennifer Lopez. Same bodyguard.
The bodyguard shot?
That's the allegation. Other people are saying, no, it was a different guy. That's also Diddy's longtime friend. But Suge Knight's best friend is killed at a party in Atlanta by someone who is apparently on Diddy's side. Now, it was later disputed, and Diddy vehemently denies it, saying, that's insane. Why would I have his friend killed? I have too much to lose. I fear God too much. It's just getting very messy. It just feels like the record labels have a lot more skin in the game, whereas Tupac and Biggie were friends who had a falling out, and everything just escalates from there. I will say that most people believe that Suge Knight and Diddy were encouraging this anger from both sides. Whereas Tupac and Biggie, if they had sat down, I think that they could have talked it out. I mean, even the way that Tupac talks about it in an interview, he sounds more betrayed. He brings up the fact that he was the one that gave Biggie his first shows. As for having beef with Biggie, Tupac says, you know, Suge Knight told me something enlightening the other day. Having beef with Bad Boy Records is like going to a playground and picking on the kids. Tupac says he sees himself like a big brother to Biggie. He can't have beef with him because he grew up with money. He's mad at Biggie because he disrespected Tupac. That's it. That's why he's mad. He said Biggie got seduced by the power, not because he's an evil person, but because money is evil if it's not handled right. Fear got stronger than love, and they did things that they know they weren't supposed to do. They know in their heart. That's why they're in hell now. They can't sleep. That's why they're telling all the reporters, why are they doing this to us and to hip-hop, da-da-da-da. Because they're in hell. They can't make money. They can't look at themselves because they know. All I ask for is, if you're going to act like a gangster, you're going to act like the king of New York, I'm going to expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm going to want to crush your empire. And that's what it's time for. All 5 bullets touched me, but you couldn't kill me. So all you did was just give me more ambition, more drive. You're really not going to be able to stop me now. For the ones that shot me, thanks but no thanks. I'm still alive. You missed. I'm hard to kill. He does go on to state, but he does love the East Coast. He was actually born in the East Coast. He was born in Harlem. It does get even messier if you can imagine. A week after Tupac is released from prison, it's alleged that Biggie's wife, Faith Evans, who is signed with Bad Boy Records, the one that's on the song I'll Be Missing You, she flies out to LA for work, runs into Tupac, and it's alleged that the two of them would end up sleeping together. Faith Evans has always denied this story, which, side note, they were actually supposed to meet each other. Faith said that she had Biggie's go-ahead to go to LA and work with Tupac on his album.
After all of this?
Yeah, I don't know if Diddy was the one that was mainly having anger towards everybody, but it seems like Biggie at that time, I guess, if this is true, if he did give the go-ahead, he seems like, oh yeah, this is just music to get sales. Like, we're just beefing with each other to get sales, quote unquote. And it's alleged that those who saw them in the studio, Faith was sitting on Tupac's lap. This is not a great part in this, but Tupac would tell the New York Times in an interview that Biggie's wife bought him this new shirt and a new suit, and he did enough in terms of thanking her. which you can kind of draw the connections there.
Yeah.
Now, there's different versions of what happens after that. Some state that Biggie was very upset and potentially violent with Faith when this New York Times article came out. Others state that he understood Faith was put in this weird position because all of these rumors, and this is the West Coast just trying to with Biggie because of the song Who Shot You, and things just start escalating quicker and quicker. Very soon after that, Tupac releases his second album, All Eyes on Me. This album would actually outsell Biggie's previous album, making him the most successful rapper. Death Row Records was back on top after this release. There was a confrontation at a music awards show in LA, but thankfully nobody was injured. Guns were drawn. It's alleged that Biggie was confronted by Tupac and Suge, while Diddy just ran up out of there, which Biggie was allegedly upset with because what the hell was that? But Diddy allegedly told him, I can't be caught up in a gunplay, it's not good for business. After that, it seems like things calm down. Things are getting better. At future events, Suge would just kind of side sweep all these comments about Diddy saying, look, there's nothing between Death Row and Bad Boy or me and Puff. Death Row sells volume, so how could Puffy be a threat to me or Bad Boy be a threat to Death Row? But the next month, everything blows up when Tupac releases a track called Hit 'Em Up. It is one of the most well-known rap songs. It's a pretty scathing response to Biggie's song. Notable lyrics include, and it kicks off strong.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
He also name drops Lil' Kim, who is notably a music icon in her own right, like I said, but also
28.
the alleged mistress in the relationship with Faith Evans and Biggie.
29.
He name drops her. There's also another play on words. Biggie has this very famous song called Player's Anthem, where he says, grab your dick if you love hip-hop. Tupac raps, grab your Glocks when you see Tupac. Call the cops when you see Tupac. Who shot me? But you punks didn't finish. 5 shots couldn't drop me. I took it and smiled. Now I'm gonna set the record straight. Now you tell them who won. I see them, they run. They don't wanna with us. Biggie, Bad Boy, as a staff, record label, and as a mother crew. And if you wanna be down with Bad Boy, then you too. West Side till we die. It is often referred to as, quote, the hardest diss track. Netizens have stated the diss tracks between Kendrick Lamar and Drake pale in comparison to the pure anger and betrayal that you can feel Tupac has. Some people say rightfully so, some people say it's misplaced, but again, it's just a song. To which Diddy does an interview about the song, and he tries to reason with the reporter that it's just gone too far. He says, if I'm gonna set a man up to get shot, which I would never do, I'm not gonna be in the country, I'm gonna be in Bolivia somewhere. He says, I hope that THUG life shit is really over, but on the real, if you're gonna be a motherfucking, you gotta live and die, you know what I'm saying? There ain't no jumping in and out of that THUG life. If that's what you choose to do, you're gonna go out like that. I'm not one. The only ones I know are dead or in jail or about to be. But now the public is even more invested in the situation between the two. Bad Boy Records employees even received death threats at this point, which one ex-employee says, I don't recall reading in the employee manual that dodging bullets was part of my job description. Tupac goes on to do an interview where he states he believes he knows the police know who shot him, but they're doing nothing about it. He says, I already know who shot me. Everybody knows who shot me. The police know who shot me. But that situation, what comes around, goes around. I believe in karma. I believe in all of that. I'm not worried about it. They missed. I'm not worried about it unless they come back. And by some accounts, they do come back. September 7th, 1996, at the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon fight at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Tupac is shot 4 times in the streets of Vegas. He was sitting in the passenger seat of Suge Knight's car. Tupac allegedly had a previous run-in with the Crips gang at the casino. They had a brief fight. They're separated, pulled apart. Suge and Tupac are headed to this new club. They're driving. After this fight, they're driving away. Cadillac pulls up, and a gunman fires 14 shots into the car. Tupac is hit 4 times. Suge Knight is injured with a bullet fragment that hits him in the head, but he is not directly shot. 6 days later, Tupac dies from his injuries. He's only 25 years old. The conspiracies that he's still alive, it appears, are fueled understandably by a combination of wishful thinking and the way that his estate was able to continuously release his back catalog posthumously. Snoop Dogg revealed when he went to see Tupac in the hospital, they were going through a rough patch. Like, they'd always loved each other, but it was just complicated.
I drove down there to the hospital because I wanted to see my, you know what I'm saying, make sure he was straight. I'm thinking that he was gonna make it.
And he said when I walked in, I could just feel Tupac wasn't there, and I fainted. And his mother pulled me aside, Tupac's mother, and reminded me how strong I was. She was like, my baby ain't never seen you weak. I don't want you to be weak in front of him. You go in the bathroom, you fix yourself up, and you go back in there, and you talk to him, and you tell him how you feel.
That's Tupac's mom is comforting
Snoop Dogg,
I said a little prayer to him in his head and held his hand and whispered at him, you know, said my piece with him. You know, he didn't have no consciousness, but I felt like my spirit and his spirit connected, and I felt like he got it.
And Tupac is dead. His mom even said, my son called me every night. I haven't received a phone call in years. That's how I know it to be true in regards to the conspiracy theories.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I'm 17 years old. My mother taught me 3 things: respect, knowledge, search for knowledge. It's an eternal journey. That's like my haircut, the line, 360 degrees, find knowledge, always. And she taught me to not be quiet. To, if there's something in my mind, speak it. That's what God, that was the breath. She always taught, but also to listen. And she told me this little joke that God gave you 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak. So she taught.
Oh, I'm gonna take a quick break because my fingies hurt. Maybe I'll make a cookie and some ice cream. But BRB. Oh my god, my mic wasn't even on. But okay, so what I was saying is change of plans. It's bedtime. But I will be streaming tomorrow. Starting anywhere from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. It's cold. I'm sleepy. Very eepy. and I got work in the morning. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Get some sleep.